Shout out to the sponsor, Tej Hanley. It's too early, but that's okay. My gym workout was phenomenal. Before I went home, I decided to stop over at my mother's house. I haven't seen my mother in 2 months. I know she's going to be very surprised to see me. I can't wait. What the? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The first thing I noticed was this person's skin. What is going on? Uncomplicated, untreated skin? Who is this guy? I had to take a step back, but then I realized it was my brother. But look at his skin. Have you guys ever seen anything like that? I had to take a closer look and figure out what was going on. Best believe I crept up on him. Peep this. I'm still looking at his skin, trying to figure out how did we get here. I could do nothing but shake my head. He could definitely use my help. I had to get to the bottom of this. He definitely needed some game about his skin. I'm just staring at it, like looking at it. Come on, bro. I knew what to do. I had to reach in my bag and get that Tej Hanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. Bro, this is why I'm excited to have Tej Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. They have helped me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and the grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My brother was so excited. My favorite part about Tej Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really make the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin easy. Shout out to Tej Hanley. And because Tej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description, and not only will you get Tej Hanley for the best possible price, but they'll also give you a free gift with your first box. Click that link and get started today for just $30. Feel the Tej. Let the Tej force be with you.
Hi, Kayla, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. I did it like I was answering a phone call.
Everybody's here. We all here.
Hey, what's up, Jonathan?
Hey, how's it going?
Good to have you back. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go,
Yeah.
Kayla. Love the
How
hair.
y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Good.
I'm
doing
so
well,
excited
doing
to
well.
be here with you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking. I mean, Mother's Day was yesterday, and we're gonna
It
kind of
was.
get into some parental topics. Though none of us, Jonathan, you don't have kids, right?
No, no children.
So none of us have kids. So we'll be, hoping some callers can come in with their parents' perspective.
Yes.
A little bit
I'm
later.
sure they will.
Yeah, yeah.
I have
So
no doubt.
I mean, let's just get right into it. We all know each other, Jonathan. You're not new here. Um,
No, you're
and
not.
I
I've
didn't
been
even
here
tell you what
before.
we were talking about, did I? No. So, Kayla and I were just talking about parents and their relationships with their kids.
Hmm.
And I know that Kayla's expressed that her and her mom are really close. Like they hang out, they go on vacations together, all of those types of things. And to my surprise, in the comments, there was like some pushback about that, right, Kayla? Like while you were talking about that, some people were like, "You a wonder," and like all this type of stuff. But a lot of kids are really close to their parents at all ages, even into adulthood.
I think
So
it's a blessing. And I think the people that are feeling some kind of way just like are a little jealous, maybe. Um, maybe something like that. They're a little jealous. Because I just feel like this person has walked a very similar walk with your DNA. So it would just behoove you to consider what they have to say and like become close with them. So I don't know. I'm close with my mom. I really enjoy like having that bond with her, and she's being my friend while also being, a leader to me and someone that's giving me feedback about what's going on. And I guess more people want that, or maybe they don't have that. And so that's where the disconnect is. Hard to say.
Now, when you say friend, what do you mean? Like, what does that look like?
Meaning I'll do things with her that I'll do with my friends. So go out, hang out, travel, things like that I would do with my girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
I do with her as well. And we can have conversations similar to the ones that I have with my girlfriends now that we're both grown. But that was not the precedent when I was a child. When I was a child, it was very much like, stay in a child's place. You are a child. You are not a little adult. You are a kid. So it didn't get comfortable like this until I was grown. You know what I'm saying? But I'm happy.
Now, what would you say? Like, what age did you realize? Okay, she's treating me like I'm grown now. We're friends now. When did that start happening?
Probably around like 21, 18,
Okay.
Between 18 and 21. Like, I went away to college, so I wasn't there. So it was hard. It's hard to gauge like how it is with your parent when you don't really see them like that, because you're living in a whole other city and across the country. So after college, though, when we were in the same space, that is when the friendship kind of formed. And I guess I could say these last 5 years, it's gotten closer as I've gotten like towards that more mature level. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting to more, in the depth of adulthood now. So, it's different.
So like, and is that also like, is she also as like transparent with you as you are with her? In terms of like her personal life, and I don't know if she's married, but like her romantic life and all those other things.
She's engaged, but she definitely shares things with me, like deep things, and we don't share what we share. You know what I mean? It's like our bond. I'm sure there are things that are kept, just like I keep things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure there are things that are kept. I cannot say what, because they're kept. But I know for a fact there are certain things that I'm not privy to, but there are a good amount of things that I am. So there's that as well.
And then what about like arguments that you might have with your mom? Like, can you hang up the phone on her like you might do your girlfriend? Can you cuss her? Like, I don't know what you do with your friends.
I wouldn't hang up the phone on my girlfriends, or cussing them out, that's different. But I wouldn't hang up the phone on my girlfriends. I would just be like, listen, I'm gonna call you later, and hang up the phone. I didn't hang up the phone. I let you know I was hanging up the phone.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to keep talking, then that's different. But like with my mom per se, I will like get that confirmation out of respect for her. That like, you know what, Mom, I cannot do this right now. I can't do this right now. Can we talk about this at another time? And I'll wait for her to say, sure. You know what I mean? Like, okay, then hang up. So that's probably the difference, I guess.
Okay.
So Kayla, you talked about how this kind of changed. You like unlocked the friendship box with your mom when you were like 18, 21-ish, because when you were younger, it wasn't the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think a lot of people have, different types of relationships with their kids. Some people are more like the friend, I don't know if y'all had this person when y'all were growing up, but like there was always like a house in the neighborhood where that mom was like friends with their kids, and they were the cool one, and everybody went to their house and blah, 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 blah. Jonathan, how do you feel about someone being friends with a younger kid? A parent being friends with their younger kid, not like 20 or 21, but
like under 18.
Yeah, like a school age.
Yeah, no, I think specifically that parents should be parents to children. Like specifically, children defined as under 18 years of age. Because I think like especially developmentally, I think a child needs the opportunity, number one, to be a child. And that means, and part of that is like having the innocence of a child. You're playing games. You don't really know about, well, you might know about sex and stuff like that, but your mom isn't talking to you about her sex life, or your dad isn't talking to you about his sex life, like things with violence and just other things like that. I think if and I think it even extends to, like help around the house. Like if you're a child and you're constantly being asked to take on adult responsibilities, I also think that that's a developmental issue, and that child grows up and didn't really have the opportunity to have a childhood, and I think that impacts them later on in life. Now, let me say this: I think that there are certain situations that people find themselves in where they have to do that. Like you have to, like, my wife, she had to be kind of like the mom for her sisters, but she had to pay for that later. And there's some people that just they don't have the opportunity to be kids because of the environment that they live in. I'm not talking about that necessarily, but I am talking about, like, when parents put a lot of undue responsibility or undue knowledge on children that they probably shouldn't know. Yeah, so I don't think that parents should do that with little kids or anybody under the age of 18, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with that. I definitely think there are boundaries that I think that a lot of parents don't have with their children.
Yeah.
And so that's a problem. I really think that you have to create a line, because when you don't, it opens the door for intriguing thoughts that you don't need to be having right now because you are a child. You know what I'm saying? You need to be worried about, is the sky blue? What are the colors? Tell me the states. Tell me the countries. Tell me something else that you need to be thinking about. So I just think that when you don't have boundaries, it just creates things to be out of order. And it's just unfortunate that a lot of people a lot of people's kids, not adult kids, a lot of people's children are their friends because they fill holes and they fill gaps in people's hearts. Right? So that's a problem, because then you seeing this person as a little adult, a smaller adult, a smaller human that is your friend, when they're just not. They are your responsibility at that time. So that is the more unfortunate part, and I hate to see that. It's also a lot of pressure on the child too, to fill said void. But it's my opinion. It's a little staticky on something. Is that me? Or am I the only one hearing it?
I don't hear any static. Do you hear
it? No.
Okay.
So is there a thin line? Like if a parent is friends with their child, how does the line of like respect get established? Because there are different things you are going to say in front of non-family member friends or whatever, depending on the person. So how does that line get established? And then I don't know, is that just like a regular friendship if you're not going to be the same as you are with your friends that aren't your mom or your dad? I don't know. I think sometimes, especially with younger kids, you can have this friendship, but sometimes I think that a parent can create a monster because then, the kids aren't respecting them and all of these types of things. So like, how does that line get established? Is it just like a boundary? Like you just say, hey, but when kids are young, they don't necessarily think of things that reasonably. Not all the time. Sometimes they want to push those boundaries. So how can a kid's friend and maintain those boundaries?
I don't know. I feel like the boundaries from the beginning have to be established. Like, listen, you need to know that I am the parent and you are the child. And you need to know these are the rules. As time goes on, I may amend the rules. You know what I'm saying? Or change them or whatever. And you do that over time as they age into more responsibility, and you're able to do that. And you let them know, okay, now you can do this. This you still cannot do. Do not do this, or it will be a problem, but I don't know. That's how it was done with me. As time went on, I started to be able to talk about different things, do different things as time progressed. But there was always the hard line right there that, like, I am the parent, you are the child, you do what I say because I said so. This is not a conversation unless I've asked you to give your opinion. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that. I think too, also along with words, it's also about the parents' actions as well. Because you can say all you want, I'm the mom, I'm the dad, da, 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 da. But if you don't act like that with the kid, then they're not going to treat you like that either. I'll give you a perfect example. I have a friend, and when she was younger, in her teens, she had to pay part of the rent. Because her family couldn't. Her mom was in a situation where she was spending a whole bunch of money, and she couldn't afford to pay the rent. But her mom wanted to treat her, still like a child. You got to do this like a child. You have to do that like a child. And finally, she said, "Then you're not getting you're not getting half the rent."
Ooh, how'd that go?
Her mom started treating her like an adult because she needed that rent to get paid.
Wow.
You said the mom was like, okay, well.
The mom, she was mad, of course, and they had an argument. But at the end of the day, it's 50-50 over here.
That's tough. I cannot even imagine my parents charging me rent as a child. Yeah. Even I understood that I'm a child, and that maybe because I heard it over and over. I'm a child. I get to live here for free. I get to eat for free. I get to do all this stuff for free. And so I'm going to do what the people that are paying for stuff say do, as well as they say they love me. So I don't know. That's really tough. That should not be a child's responsibility to pay rent. They should be focused on what they want to do with their life. And doing that actually gets them in a trap. It gets them like in a trap of just jobs and always just working a job, not necessarily a career, because you're not willing to take the time to invest in those things that may, get you to that career. So I don't know.
Someone put up an interesting comment. Divinely Planted said, I felt like my mother was my best friend, but a terrible mother. And, I think that a lot of people have that experience where they can kick it with their mom, like, in their teens or something like that. And their mom is kind of chill and lets them do whatever, which, letting your children just do whatever they want is not necessarily like being a good parent. So what do y'all think about that situation? Like how is that going to affect the child that grows up into an adult? Because while someone is a little kid, they're probably like, yay, I get to eat ice cream and stay up until 5 a.m. But then those turn into, other things as you get older.
Yeah.
And you might look back and realize like, wait, I missed out on the things I should have been doing as a child or whatever. And sometimes those kids even grow to like resent their parents because they didn't have that structure. And
I think
like that.
Those people also grow to have like trust issues because they couldn't depend on the people that they're supposed to be able to depend on at an age where they didn't even know what that even meant. But they could feel that. You know what I mean? They could feel that this doesn't feel right. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening, but this is happening. So, that is so tough. But I think it creates trust issues with that person. I think it can create unrealistic expectations in relationships and like trauma in relationships as well, because this is the person that's job is to make sure that you're taken care of, and they're seeing everyone else mom doing that. And it's just like, what's also could create insecurities. Like, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't my mom just do what the other moms do? Like what's happening? So it could create a slew of issues.
So when we were talking about the rent thing, I'm looking at some of these comments because people are like weighing in as we're talking. And lovely Capricorn, hey girl, said, I've been paying rent since 15. I thank my parents for this type of upbringing because it taught me to value things at an early age. So like this is like when I was talking about that thin line, I'm like,
this still crosses it to me.
What do you think about that comment, Kayla?
It still crosses it to me. Like, I just don't think a child should have to pay rent. Now, my mom made me work for the things that I want. I had to get a job to buy things that I wanted, things that were not necessities. Like if I wanted clothes or to go do things with friends or to go to a concert. I started working I still didn't work very long. I just started working at 17. And things I wanted to do senior year, I had to work to go do them. But the rent, the food, that should be taken care of. A child should know that they're going to have a roof over their head and that they're going to have food in their belly, especially at a pivotal age like 16, where it's very important for you to focus so that you can have a future. These are the most imperative years, like 16 to 16 to 21, basically. Like, this is such an important time to learn who you are, figure out what you want to, like, what's your purpose? What are you going to do with your life? How are you going to do it? What's the formula to getting there? You have a lot of shit to do. And the last thing that you should be thinking about is rent.
You know, I have mixed feelings because, I mean, I get the whole like responsibility thing. I didn't have a job until I was in college. I never had to like work for any of my things that I got as a, kid up until I went away to school. But there were other ways that I learned to be responsible with money. Like, my dad had me being the one kind of managing certain things in the house, even though it was his money, and his cards and his, bank account and all that. He had me like setting up the accounts to pay the bills. And like, I was just kind of responsible for doing certain things like that. And I think that that was really helpful, even though it wasn't my money. Like, even till this day, I love to make sure that I'm managing my money correctly and that, I'm on top of making sure bills are paid and, doing all this stuff. And I've always been like that. And I think that's because of how that was instilled as a, I guess, teen. But then, I mean, some people, I don't know, Kayla, I guess if it's a necessity, like if a person is making their
That's what I was going to say.
So that, or else there won't be a roof over your head. Like, I think
Right.
that level of stress for a child is not healthy, in my opinion. But if it's kind of just like, you're going to contribute to this thing, but it's more of like a learning lesson. And I think that if that's the case, the child should know that, so that it's not like they feel this weight of, oh my goodness, the lights are going to get cut off if I don't bring home this, money. Like, I don't think that kids should be under that stress unless they have to, which hopefully they never would have to be.
Yeah. And I worked too. I've worked too since I was 15. Shout out to KFC, Taco Bell. Okay.
Hey.
But we weren't paying rent. The first bill, my dad said, you got to pay as your phone bill, because I was talking to too many girls. And, back in the day, you could only get 100 minutes and we were going like 1,000, talking too much. So he said, you're going to pay your own bill. You're going to pay your own phone bill. But the dynamic also changed around that.
That's not a necessity.
It's not a necessity.
You could be without that as a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so
right.
that my mom didn't make me pay for anything like that. But I understand like a parent doing that. I get that. Listen, that's out of the budget. That's not in the household budget. You having a phone. What you don't work from this phone. What you need with the phone. You know what I'm saying? So you need to pay for it. And I get that. Especially as a man. My dad did do that to my brother. Like, if there were certain like dates and stuff, he would be like, listen, like, you need to actually no. That was when he was out of the house.
Yeah, my dad was
under 18. No.
Mm-mm. And we bringing in gender. My dad was very clear about, because I don't have any sisters. I have two brothers. And we all work. We all work since we were, of that age to be able to work. And he was just kind of very clear about that. Like, a man needs to work. You're gonna work.
Yeah.
And you need to know about money. You need to know how to manage it. If you don't have enough money, you need to go get a second job. I remember when I was in college, and when you get that financial aid check, it's the most money you've ever seen. Some of us ever seen. So I went out,
in your life,
spent it.
Never seen that much.
The car broke down. Things needed to be fixed, and I didn't have the money. And I went to my dad. Oh my gosh, Dad, what am I? I don't have the money to fix it. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, well, what are you gonna do?" And he had the money, but he wasn't gonna give it to me because I made the mistake. Right. And so I had to go get a second job. I had to sell, the stuff that I needed to sell to get the money to be able to handle my business. So I think in that area, those are the lessons that I think, kids can learn, but not like you said, Kay, when it's a necessity where the livelihood of the house is contingent upon their work. To me, that's a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. Kelly Cunningham made a comment that I agree with. She said, "You don't need experience as a kid paying bills to then do it as an adult." I 100% agree with that. It puts me in the mind of when people say like, "I wish they would have taught me in school how to do taxes," and it's
They
like you.
did. Oh, not
And
taxes, but
the
they
thing
did.
is, you didn't explicitly need to be taught how to do taxes in school to know to then have be able to find the resources to properly do them as an adult. A lot of the things that we learn as children are just creating more neural pathways, helping us to be able to solve problems, do things like that, so that when we are faced with a new problem as an adult or whatever, we can handle it. So yeah, I agree with that, Kelly. Um,
I mean, I
all
get
right.
that. I don't know. I do feel like that. I don't know. I just feel like kids should just not be children. They should just be able to be children. And it's so important because it's such a short time. Like you are an adult for majority of the time
Yeah.
on the planet. On the planet, like you have
Like take those precious
plenty
years and be a
of,
kid.
right. You literally have like 15 years
Yeah.
of precious time. And then the rest of this, like, is ghetto, right? Like, I hate it here. Like, okay, right? So I don't know. But what I was going to say about school is that my school, I don't know what's going on in the schools, but in my school, we had junior and senior year, we had economics class. The whole year, not the whole year, but each semester was like a huge project of some sort where like we had income, we had a job, we had to like take the taxes out, we had to go out and quote how much it was for rent, how much for it was for a phone, and like make a budget and learn how, if you was working this job, blah blah blah, and like create a schedule for your life. And like that was something that they taught us at school. So I don't know what's going on with the schools, but like I feel like they should teach that at school. Like you should have an economics teacher that teach you about economics. This is how the country works. Everybody has to pay the government. Anytime you eat, the government wants theirs. Anytime you sleep, anytime you make money, anytime you do anything, the government wants theirs. And just how things work with your car. You have to register it. You have to register it every year. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Maybe we just need
Yeah.
updated curriculum.
I don't teach high school, so I'm not sure like exactly
Okay.
what's going on in the high schools now.
It
But
depends on which one you go to.
exactly, like I don't know if there's like a, like how there are common core standards. Like, is there like a, I don't know. But when I was in high school, you definitely needed these consumer education classes to graduate, and that included all of the things Kayla just talked about. They didn't sit you down on a TurboTax website like this is how you but they gave you like a overview of age appropriate things that you would need to know just out in the world. And just in general, I just hate when people say like, why didn't they teach us how to do laundry at like school? Like, what?
Laundry.
Like, where are your parents? And also like, if you learn how to do some things, you can transfer that knowledge to new situations. That's what learning is, like being able to apply something somewhere else and get a desired result. So yeah, I mean, high school, if anybody has high school kids, let us know. Are there those types of classes? I'm not exactly
Yeah.
sure.
Let me know.
They
I want to
have them. They still have them in high schools. It just depends on which high school you go to. So, if your high school is a little bit more affluent, then there's certain classes where you get to learn those things. If you go to high school in the hood or in like some like low income high schools in certain places, they may have like an economics class, but whether you learn anything in that class or not really depends. It's a toss up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and you know what? Even in elementary school where I teach, at least, there's this whole like entrepreneurship and then this whole like financial literacy thing. It's like it's not a part of like the core I guess, standards, but it's something that we do every year. And then these people come in, it's like a whole thing. So,
Yeah.
kids are being exposed to these things at different levels. And I think that a lot of that, though, a lot of what needs to be taught in those areas, I think should come from parents. Like, those are things that your parents should really be teaching you and showing you through, by being an example, and also like explicitly teaching you how to do some of those things.
I think they can teach you while they do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like being an example.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come over here,
Yeah.
sit down. I'm about to do balances, the checkbook. Well, no one does that anymore, right?
That's funny because that's always the example people use, and I'm like, are people doing that?
No, growing up, I remember my mom writing checks
Yeah.
and flipping up the balance sheet and writing it in.
Yep,
I
that
remember
whole
she taught
thing
me how
with
to
all
do
the
that.
lines. Yep.
Is that showing my age? Whatever.
My grandma
But
still does that, I think.
yes, so I
At the
think
kitchen table.
but also when it comes, I think there are things that are appropriate and not appropriate at certain ages.
Yeah.
So back to the whole friendship thing, kind of want to segue into this other topic that I'm eager to talk about because it's just frustrating as heck.
Yeah.
But there has to be a line, right? The line can get murky as the child gets older and you start developing that relationship. But I believe there is a hard line at kids that are under the age of 13. Like there is a hard line, in my opinion. And we're going to play a video that will showcase what I mean by that there has to be a line, because we are adults, they are children, they are not little people. And the way that we behave around adults, around children, there has to be some decorum. There has to be a line. So, JR, if you will do us the pleasure. So after this video and after we kind of get into this, we'll drop the link. Gonna drop the link in a little bit. Eager to hear some of these parents' opinions. But JR, are we ready? Can I do it? I think I could do it actually.
Oh, you could put it on the screen?
I think I could do it. Yeah. Okay. So here we go. Are we ready? There's no music, but so there is this. Okay.
The kid in the back is just like.
That is the video, right? As you can see, that is Ari Fletcher and her 4-year-old son at a private house party event situation. So for me, the hard line is crossed because I just believe there's a certain way that we operate when there are certain. I mean, did y'all not have like it got late, like the little kids have to go in the house? Like what world are we living in that this is okay? Like I just don't understand. I don't understand. Like we should be electric sliding. We should be two hops. Like what?
Yes, there are so many line dances to do, there are so many line dances and just other things other dances, I mean, that's too much.
This is frustrating. This is the frustration I have with some of the parenting that I'm seeing because that is just not appropriate to me. So what do y'all want to get y'all feedback, y'all thoughts?
So when you in my opinion, when you have a, child, I think that certain things should not happen in front of the child. Because it just then now they start imitating what you're doing. Like it becomes a whole thing. And as a teacher, I have had to stop kids from doing certain things many times. And, it's not their fault. They're just seeing these things on TV, at home, wherever they're seeing them. And, I don't know. It's just, I think the line was crossed too. Like in my opinion, for me, that would not be a thing I would do. Jonathan, what do you think?
Yeah,
And do you,
Jonathan, what do you think?
Yeah, I just honestly, I think if you want to learn how to raise a child that disrespects women, that's one of the ways that you do that. That's just what I believe.
can
I
you
do.
expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, because like a child's not necessarily like gonna, and I don't want to say like right and wrong, but they're not gonna be able to differentiate between certain things because they're so young.
Right.
And so whatever you allow, they're gonna think that that is right. And so if mom is out here twerking on somebody, and I've seen other videos where they've let the little baby like get twerked on by a grown woman,
That is
or like make the
absolutely
baby
horrible.
slap the woman's butt,
Yeah.
or like there's certain I believe rappers and other things that have taken their like teenage sons to whorehouses and have them have had them have sex with women, and as teenagers and little boys, and just certain things like that. Like if you want to show somebody how to see women as objects, and how to disrespect them, that's to me, that's how you do it. You put them in situations that they can't understand, and create and turn that into a norm, and then they're going to grow up thinking that that's a norm. That's just normal. What do you talk about?
Exactly.
And I think there was who was it? There was another video, and I forgot the dude's name. Was it Kodak Black? It was somebody, and he was on I want to say it was the Breakfast Club or something. And they were asking him about, because he was saying like, hey, if I sign a woman to a record label, we're having sex, like right off the bat. And he said it like, and I don't know if it was Kodak Black or somebody in the chat, tell me if you saw the video. Yeah, okay, she said it was Kodak. Yeah. And he said, we're having sex right off the bat. And they're like, yo, you can't do that. Like, don't do that. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, he literally, and you look in his eyes, he literally could not fathom like that this was something that was not okay. But if you go back into his childhood and his upbringing, being raised in and out of trap houses, and just different things like that, you can come to understand how somebody might, not all the time, because I don't want to say every single person that grows up like this is one way, but you can kind of understand how somebody might see that as normal then when they've been growing up in certain kinds of contexts.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And like sometimes, as an adult, we see certain behavior or people doing certain things, and it's hard to believe, like, how can they think that this is, something they should be doing? But like you said, Jonathan, a lot of times this has just been something that people have been exposed to for so long that they don't even see it as, something that other people would find strange
at all. They think it's so normal. They really do.
To me, even like stuff like little kids listening to certain hip hop music. Like I see that all the time on TikTok or YouTube. And I'm like, they can't filter that information.
There's no way to filter some of the information. And I teach kids on the weekend dance. So we are listening to music. And there's just certain music that we like, literally, we have music for the age groups. Like for first graders, we have certain music. We have multiple playlists. For the second, third, fourth graders, we have multiple playlists. Fifth and sixth graders, multiple playlists. For the teenagers, whole other playlist. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's no way to filter certain words that are not curse words, but are like going to create inquisitive minds about, mommy, what is it? Oh gosh, this conversation we shouldn't be having right now. Why are we doing this? Not that you can stop them, because they'll see it in the streets and things like that. But that's also why I'm like pro homeschooling and stuff, because once they leave your house, you really just can't control what happens.
So like, with the twerking video that we just watched, I think that like there was a lot of like touching going on. I think some girl was like touching her, and then it was just like a whole thing, like the context of it, that made me say, you know what, this is a lot. This is too much for like around little kids. But like I think about, Nigerian parties that I used to go to when I was a kid, and people would be dancing, but it wasn't like it wasn't like what we just watched at all, you know.
It didn't feel sexual. Because I
Right.
get what you mean. Like, I see Ludacris's wife and their family dance on Instagram and do like the traditional Gabonese dances and stuff. And there is a lot of like popping and locking and thrusting, but it just is not, it doesn't feel sexual. You know what I'm saying?
'Cause that lady was really rubbing that other lady. And that's, I think, what really made it. And then, yeah.
And then the position was like,
Yeah.
it was a sexual position. Is that not a sexual position? I mean, we're grown. We know that's a sexual position. It wasn't like in a dance stance or like I got my shoulder over and I'm or you know and I'm coming back and it was literally like sexual position, like bend it over, so it's like
Kayla said as long as you add the shoulder in that it tones it down.
You know what I'm saying? I should have uploaded a African dancing video. Hold on, I'm gonna find one for y'all.
I know.
Find one.
I just thought that was funny. Like, just
I was speaking African, not Caribbean, because a lot of the Caribbean stuff be very sexual as well. But I was talking about like more traditional African dancing. Y'all understand me a little bit?
Yeah.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And just in the context, like, in America, like things are different places, and things are different amongst different groups. Like in some groups, the women walking around topless is nothing. But in other groups, it's like, oh my goodness, oh no. Like, so, there's a different culture. And I think that you have to go by what, your culture kind of, I guess, normalizes.
And you also learn like there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
And so like even if there's a time to there's a time to twerk, there's a time there's an age for that. But in that situation, I don't know if they're learning that.
So how do you?
It would have been y'all need to go upstairs.
The parents told the kids, like, go to the kids' table or go upstairs.
Yeah.
I mean, as thinking back to when I was, how old was that boy? 4, 5? 4
yeah, I think 4.
If I think back to when I was in like kindergarten or something, if I was somewhere and my mom started doing that and then her friends started like doing what her friend was doing, I would be like, what? No. Like I would be so like, oh no, please no. So I think sometimes people don't think about how their kids feel. And I think that it is important to consider how your kids feel about certain things. Of course, some things, you're the parent, you're going to put your foot down, as, whatever you say. But in certain instances, you have to think about, your kids in relation to like your behavior. Because some things might really have your kid out here looking, I don't know, having to defend themselves like against other kids for your behavior. And I don't think that's fair to the kid. Like,
It's not.
Either of you, have you ever seen your parents like doing something that was just embarrassed you or made you say like, oh my goodness, this is inappropriate or whatever?
No,
like
my parents never did that.
Not as a child.
Yeah.
As an adult. But not as a child.
Yeah.
No.
Imagine if your birthday
other than maybe curse somebody out. Yeah. But that was embarrassing. But that person also deserved to be cursed out. So
yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people with parents who do that. Like they go to the club with their mom, or
as a child.
Well, they were at parties with their moms, where when their moms were a child, or their mom had a lot of uncles, you know what I mean, come over the house, and they would hear them doing what they do, or they would have conversations when they were in high school or kids about their mom's sexual exploits or their dad, so I know a lot of people that have had those experiences similar to the video that you just showed. And I don't know if I would say that they But yeah, I think the difference is like it was never online.
Yeah.
Not something that other kids would know about unless you were the friends with them. So that's one thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Just think about like doing that and just seeing somebody recording you. I would have been like, oh my God. Like if that did happen, you know what I mean? I would have been like, yo, 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 yo. You know what I'm saying? That if this is going to happen, it's not, at least people are not going to know about it. But she was like, I mean, the video went on longer than I even played it. You know? So these kids going to have to be out here with my kids. That's what I'm really worried about. Like these kids that's going through this trauma.
So how I think of when I was a kid, like what would the line have been, right? Like I don't want, my parents coming anywhere like I don't know, when I was a kid, like coming to school in pajamas or something like that, or whatever, when I was little, would have been something that I would have been like, oh no, my friends are going to say something about this, or, oh no, I'm embarrassed, like all of that. Right. So like when you're the parent though, how do you decide where that line is drawn, and does it get drawn? Like, how do you change it as the children age? Like, are there things, Kayla or Jonathan, that you don't want your parents doing, like, let's say at a family reunion or something like that, like with you around? I mean, or does it stop?
I don't want to see my parent do that ever. Like, I'm definitely down with my mom dancing.
Kayla, you said I never.
I'm definitely down with my mom dancing. We be getting it, but like that, I don't want to see that ever.
So if that just started happening, would you stop her?
Yes.
No, they're an adult. I'd walk out of there.
You said yes.
No, I would stop them. I'd be like, Mom, what are you doing? I literally would be like that. Because I told you my mom is my friend. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? I do all the time with some of the stuff she said. I'm like, Mom, what are you wearing? What is that? No. So I would do the same thing and be like, Mom, you had too many wines. All right, it's time we going to the room. Like, what's happening? No.
So should the parents determine that line based on what the kids are saying, or should they just have the common, I don't know, I don't even want to say common sense, I guess the wherewithal themselves to just say, you know what, these are things that, I'm not going to do? Or should they say, what are you comfortable with, child? Does it make
or maybe just not around the child, or maybe like not on video? Or
not around the child.
Maybe even it's like not on video, but maybe it's like don't post it on social media.
Or just there's levels.
Yeah.
Like there are still levels of twerking that you can do that are like not that. There are
a whole spectrum of twerking.
There's a spectrum, but I feel like you are the adult. You are grown. You know what you be doing when you be getting it popping in the bedroom. Don't do things like that.
She's advanced class twerk. She's like, she's in the stratosphere. I've never seen that before.
Isn't that somebody's baby's mom? Wait, I mean, obviously she's somebody's baby's mom, but isn't that like the Javante Davis? No, that's not.
I don't know.
Who's the father of her? Is it Javante Davis?
I think Kayla froze. She knows.
But I know she knows. That's why I'm waiting for her to come back. I'm like, is that woman that is the mother of Tank's son? Or I don't know. I wish Kayla would be unfrozen so that we could find out. Because I do like a good boxing match, and I thought that was her, but I'm not sure. Does anybody in the chat know? Oh, G Herbo. Oh, why did I think it was? Oh, G Herbo.
Who is that?
He's a rapper.
Okay.
Why did I think it was Javante Davis? Like, who is his baby's mom? It's somebody, right? Look, somebody in the chat, tell me who is Javante Davis's baby's mom, or his wife, or whoever, because I thought it was her, but
I think we both live under a rock. We don't know.
I don't know what's going on.
Somebody
is like G Herbo. Oh, okay. Well, okay. So I don't know. I think that it's a combination of things. I think that as a parent, you have to kind of have those boundaries for yourself. And then also you have to think about what's best for your child. And I think that you should be reasonably accepting of input that your child gives, like something that you might not even think is, maybe
Sorry,
that big
y'all.
of a deal.
It's
No,
internet.
we
It's
just
internet. Logic must be watching because I don't know why the internet messing up. Like he must be tuning in. Hey, Logic.
That energy.
Logic, boo.
We needed you here, Kayla. I was trying to figure out whose baby's mom she was, or
She's G Herbo's baby mom.
here I am. Who is Javante Davis's baby?
That's
mom?
a boxer. G Herbo is a
right, but I thought that the boxer. Who is his baby? Doesn't he?
Gervonta Davis does have a baby mama. I think he got a few.
Isn't she somebody like?
No, I don't think any of his baby mamas are influencers like Ari is.
Okay, I thought
they
that
have a name of their own outside of. No, not that I know of. I mean, let us know in the chat, but I don't think so. No,
I don't know why I thought that.
I mean, we could drop the link though if y'all want.
Yeah, because I know some people were asking
on.
for it. I'll put it in there
and see. But yeah, I do think that this behavior, there has to be a good line between parent and child. You have to know that age range. You have to know when they're, that's appropriate and when it's not. And it's a fine line. Listen, as parents, nobody has all the answers, right? Every parent is doing the best they can, but do better. Don't do this. Let's learn from this and let's not do this. But as an adult, I think you should try to cultivate a relationship with your parent. It'll just only thing it could do is be beneficial. Whether they're a good parent or a bad parent, only thing it could do is help you learn how to navigate the world better and understand who you are and what things that you can use to your advantage by seeing what your parents did, or see what things you may need to watch by seeing what your parents did, within yourself. So adults, have these relationships with your parents. Like, I don't get what nobody say about like, oh, okay, let her mom, da, 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 da. I will talk to my mom before I talk to my girlfriends about anything major. Like, come on, my girlfriends are my age. So it only makes sense to look at someone that's been through the fire, But yeah, so the links drop. What up, y'all?
Yeah.
So how transparent would be too transparent for you then, Kayla, with your mom? Between you and your mom.
I don't need to know about her sex life. I don't need to know about her sex life. I don't need to know about that. She tells me about other things, like, sometimes we vent to each other. We know we just be venting. When I was in a relationship, like he was getting on my nerves, I would call her and just this man getting on my nerves. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she'd do the same sometimes, but like anything like too sexual, we usually don't touch on. I don't think I will with her either. I don't think I will unless it really came to that, like something that had to do with motherhood. And I would ask her like, Ma, so like after this 6 weeks is up, what am I to expect? You know what I mean? Something like that. I would ask that. You know what I'm saying? Let me get this information. Like, is this supposed to be doing this like this? Like, is it supposed to feel like this? Like, what is supposed to happen? So, but other than that, we leave the sex. I don't know.
What do you think, Jonathan? Like, how much is too much? Or
do you and your dad talk about like you and your wife's? If like you had a sexual question about your wife or about your situation, would you ask your dad or would you ask your mom?
I would go. I would.
He's like, I'll Google it.
I'm going to therapy. I'll ask my therapist. I'll ask.
There are plenty of other people to ask, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of. I'll ask a professional that is bound by law not to say anything about what it is that I'm having a conversation about.
I can see you just like at a random annual checkup at the doctor. Like, so I have a question.
Yeah.
The doctor's gonna be looking like, don't you have any friends you could talk to? No.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. Does it depend on the gender? Like, do you like? We have, you're our resident man that comes here a lot. Do you think that it depends on the gender? Like, are you more comfortable talking to like male family members about certain things like that than like your mom, for example? Or Does it
I think
matter?
it depends on the kind of perspective that I want to get. And so, like, I think in terms of perspective, if I want to know or maybe get some insight into what my wife is thinking or what other women are thinking, then I will ask my mom. Um, if I need a man's perspective about like or something about me that needs to be dealt with, then I'll ask my dad. You know, and then sometimes I'll ask my mom about that too, because she'll, be like, it's, this is an issue with you, and here's why 10 years ago and this happened, and I'll tell, because she knows your whole life,
Mm-hmm.
so she can have conversations with you that other folks can't. But I think in terms of like boundaries, I think sex is off the table. It's just off the table. I don't want to know about yours. You're
It's
not going to
just
know about mine.
weird. It is weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
I just don't want to do the sex talk with my parents. We did that when I was a kid. My dad always makes that when I was young, my dad used to always make that very uncomfortable. Like, he used to force the sex talk with my boyfriend at the time. He would be like, so what's going to happen if y'all get pregnant? What are you going to do?
That's a good question.
Yes. He's like, so are y'all going to keep the baby? Have y'all discussed this? What's the plan? What are y'all birth control methods? Because my dad's
like, Dad, this is our second date. Like,
no. This was my boyfriend. I was
just playing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Second,
Yeah.
But no, I was bringing him home for Christmas. I had already been with him for a year. My dad is not an idiot. Like, we're in college. He knows what's happening. So
now, was that like a conversation y'all had though? Not like a conversation, but or did they just know like she's having sex? Or did you say
both my parents found out when I started having sex because I told my mom. It was with my high school boyfriend, boyfriend, senior year of high school. So my parents knew that I was active, and if I had a boyfriend, then it's like, if it's going to be happening, that's the context it needs to be happening in. Like, it shouldn't be happening at all. But what the fuck they're going to do? Like, they're going to keep telling me, don't do that forever. I'm 20 years old. What the world? So my dad was like, there was no conversation about that. Trust me, I didn't bring it up. He just was like, we're just driving. We're headed out to go like hang out or something. Because me and my dad hang out too. Like, we hang out harder than me and my mom. And because my dad's the president of a motorcycle club. Like, they got all these Harleys and all this stuff all tricked out. And, so we were just going out, and he just started drilling them and just started asking them questions.
Yeah. And then I think it has to do with how you grew up too. Because remember, I grew up in a super conservative Christian household. We didn't have conversations about anything. Anything but Jesus, so, you just... They're just
how do you maneuver if they don't talk to you about it when you get out here?
You said
nothing but the Lord, okay? But when you became, I think what changed is like the transition to adulthood, maybe. Then they started kind of opening up a little bit more. But we never even knew that they had arguments. We didn't know. We never knew. We never heard them. We didn't know. We knew that they had sex because they created us, but outside of that, I don't even recall ever hearing my parents have sex, at all. I don't ever recall it.
Kayla,
they were incognito about all of that stuff. Finances, kind of the same thing, until I got older, and then we began to have certain conversations, and then they started opening up a little bit more. But when I was a kid, I didn't know about any of that. But one thing I will say too is that it does blindside you when you become an adult, because I remember moving out of my parents' house into the, dorms in college, and I was shocked because I was like, what is it? Like, what is going on here? People out here doing their thing, and they're used to it, and they know the game. They know how to play it. They know what's going on. I had no idea what any of that was about, and I had to learn it all. I had to learn it all there.
Do you think that, like, growing up in such a conservative household, do you, I don't know, how do I phrase this? Do you feel like certain things were repressed, I guess, like some of the natural, I guess, curiosities that you might have had as a child or a teen, that you weren't able to discuss certain things that you may have wanted to?
Oh yeah, I remember that there was often times I wanted to discuss certain things, like we couldn't do a lot of stuff. You know, so either you rebelled or you kind of just succumbed to it. So like my older brother, he kind of rebelled. He did what he wanted to do. You know, he went to dances, he talked to, he did all kind of stuff. Myself and my other brother, you know, we kind of succumbed until college, and then we went wild in college. We were doing our thing, you know, and then had to kind of had to rein it in.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. You know, you have to read between the lines or whatever.
We were doing our thing.
But
Jonathan's like, we were staying up past 11.
Right, right, exactly. Stuff like that, Kay.
Really, Kay? Really, Kay? We were staying up past 11. Of course, we were staying up past 11.
That's what he
college is dorm life. You know that dorm life. That dorm life.
Oh.
Yep.
Co-ed dorm too.
You know, and so I think one of the biggest problems with that though was that when we were doing our own thing and we would get in trouble, you know, out in life, not at home, there wasn't really who can we talk to, right? Because if we went back home and said, "Hey, Dad, I got this and this happened and this happened," oh my gosh, we didn't know what we were gonna get. So, and because that door wasn't necessarily like explicitly open to have the conversation, you know, we probably could have avoided a lot of things if the door was open and we could talk to them about it.
So you agree that once you get to a certain age, there should be some doors open to friendship and being able to discuss certain things. Because I'm for sure to you, like my brothers would go talk to my dad about it. Like at that age, it'd be like, and like he would, because I've overheard these kind of grown, now that we're all grown, I hear him talking to my brothers, and he's just real. He just doesn't sugarcoat it too much when it comes to like women and what he thinks in terms of like manhood and things like that. And I just wish that door could be open for a lot of more parents, because their kids would come talk to them if they knew that they could.
Yeah. And I think too, like it I don't think it was that they weren't receiving of the information, because when, you know, for lack of a better word, the shit hit the fan and we had to say something to somebody, they were very open. We had a good conversation, got some good insight and left. But because we didn't know that they were, we just decided we're not going to go and do that stuff.
But what would they have done if you were? Like, what would have been the consequence as a grown?
I don't know. To me, I think it's more of a shame thing, because like they can't put you on punishment. You're an adult. But I think it's more of like a shame thing. You don't want to let down the family. You don't want to do that. You know.
But how are you letting down the family by having relationships and doing your thing? Your thing.
Because in conservative Christian households. Okay. Like anything that's outside of the 10 Commandments, you know, like we're you know,
understood.
You can't do. You shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, okay. And that's where that thin line comes in. Like, you know, the boundaries and the rules and all of these things absolutely are important, you know, to raise children with. But then sometimes it's like, if it's too much, it can deter your children from seeing you as someone that they can come to. And sometimes they really need someone to come talk to. And if it's not you, who knows who it's going to be and what kind of advice they're going to get and, you know, which way they're going to be steered. So, I mean, I think that's something that every parent has to kind of figure out, like, what is that line and how to make sure that their children are getting the best possible outcomes.
And be realistic. Like I just saw a comment from Jamal Clark. Jamal, I get you. No random man can come see my under 18 daughter without the fear being instilled. And that's not what you should be worried about. You should be worried about her going to see him. I don't know, like this whole thing that you like, times are not the same. And so only thing you can do is like open that line of communication. So there won't be any sneaking around, and like, you know, you can be involved, because when you draw that hard line, like my daughter's not seeing nobody till she's 18, like get fucking real. Like, come on. So she's just going to see somebody behind your back. So when you create those hard lines, once they do mature to those ages, you're drawing lines in the sand to them on their side, and them feeling like, oh, okay, I already know, you know, anything I want to do, I got to figure out how to do it around mom, because she'll never understand, because even listen.
I saw somebody share, like, you know how people share those tweets, like a meme type of thing. And it said something to the effect of like, really strict parents raise really sneaky kids, you know, because sometimes when you are so strict and no one can, you know, come to you and talk about anything, you know, you're turning your kids away when they want to have a conversation. And they just, like Kayla said, a lot of kids will just start sneaking. I mean, even kids with, you know, more lenient and open parents often sneak to do things, you know, that they don't think their parents would like or whatever. So imagine, you know, sometimes if a kid doesn't feel like they can even talk to their parents, there will be lots of secrets. And I think that just is a recipe for disaster in a lot of cases, because like I said earlier, the kids can get that information from anywhere, and you want it to be from you, if anything, so that they can make the best decisions possible.
So from a parent's point of view, what do y'all think like parents are going to say? Because I know what my mom said, but like, what is it that parents should say when their child comes to them and say like, hey mom, I am sexually active? What are these conversations like? Clearly in 2022, they are different. So I really want somebody to come up here and tell me, like, what are these conversations like? Because these kids are different. I was literally teaching on Saturday, kindergarten and first graders. And one of the girls goes, Miss Kayla. I'm like, what's up? You know my favorite part of the dance? I'm like, what's your favorite part? When we leave the stage. I'm like, you're 6? This is what's happening at 6? Like, it's just like, I'm like, yo, these kids are different. So I really want to know, parents, tell us, how are y'all communicating with your kids these days? How are y'all having conversations with them about, you know, responsible adult decisions, things like that? No, yes. I am not a teacher. Whoever asks, I'm not a teacher. I'm a dance teacher, I teach ballet, jazz, tap.
I was going to say, you are a teacher. You're a dance teacher.
Yes, I'm a dance teacher. So I still do teach, and I instill confidence and security into my students. So I do teach, but what's up? What's up?
Hi, Eugene. Can you hear me? What?
Is that a chipmunk voice? Is my computer tripping?
No, we heard it.
Jonathan looked like... What? How could that be possible? But yeah. So hopefully he comes back. We'll see. Oh, there he is. Let's see if it's fixed. I kind of low-key hope it's not. Let's see.
That was funny.
Okay, you hear my normal voice now?
Yeah, we can hear you normally.
That was pretty funny though. Not
every time, this happens. I thought I fixed that problem, but evidently not. So I had to go back to logging in twice.
I've never witnessed that before. That was first. But glad to have you back with your normal sound. What are your thoughts on anything we've talked about?
Well, I can remember, as a child, they tried not to expose me to too many things, but I can remember, the time where my parents, used to teach me about, sex and, what to do and what not to do. And even though they told me how to avoid getting pregnant, I actually stayed away from it altogether, because I can remember when I was little, I've seen girls my age, with baby bumps and things of that nature. So I decided to stay away from that altogether. But now, as a teacher, I used to see kids, speak that language, and I'm thinking to myself, well, where are they hearing this from? I see, kids, drawing penises on the wall and, talk about, stuff of that nature. And, and I think what's going on is there could be instances where, kids might find out from other kids behind their parents' back, even though they told them about the dangers of it. And then for what I'm seeing, I've been seeing on different videos, it's like there are some parents who's actually exposing them to this in so many ways. And I mean, I can remember, talking, to how students were talking, back to me, talking about, well, my father never talked to me that way. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute,
Why not?
yeah, well, exactly. Why not? Not, their role, our roles as parents has really changed a lot, and some of it's for the worst. Because I think, the parents, the generation of parents today are basically my generation or younger, and our generation, I'm Generation X, and Generation X has, really, well, have done some crazy things. That's why we were called Generation X. It's a mystery. Okay,
Really?
that's
What were
that's
y'all doing?
say it again.
What were y'all doing?
It's a
Well,
mystery, apparently.
I think, we were doing things against the grain. We weren't as traditional as our parents. Um, we did not marry as much as the generation before us. It was just totally different. And there are lots of influences. Technology has really started to boom. It's not to the extreme as it is now, but yeah, it's starting to rule us. So I think that's one of the reasons why we're called Generation X. And what scares me is, if we're called Generation X, you know, I used to think, well, what would this next generation would be like? But now I'm finding out now.
What are you talking about? Y? You're talking about Z?
I think
Well,
after X is
Y,
millennium.
Z, all the generations after X.
You said everybody, huh? Everybody else.
Basically.
Well,
He said-
almost everybody.
Everybody after Generation X.
Yeah, generations after Generation X. Well, I should say, yeah. So now, I mean, again, parenting has changed. I mean, the structure is not the way it used to. More and more single parents, uh, and mostly it's single moms raising them. And and I begin to get an idea of how these single moms, or single parents for that matter, raising their kids. It's having a real negative effect, basically.
I
But
don't
I
think
mean, I
they're
know
really
there's
raising
still
them.
some single parents who do the best they can and actually do a good job. And as a teacher, I have seen some of these single parents, concerned about the students' grade and their welfare, but some others, mm-mm. And we've witnessed it on different videos.
So Eugene, like, you've been talking kind of about like, Generation X and the generations after. How do you reconcile? Like, how do you, when people talk about the younger generations, I'm always like, who raised them? Isn't it the older generations? So
Oh,
where
yeah.
do you think that the disconnect happened? Like, what do you think happened to cause certain things to be the way that you're seeing them or describing them, in terms of people being so much different today?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not really for sure. I guess it's also mostly the outside influence that's really affecting them, really affected us. Uh, but I'm not really sure where the actual disconnect is.
That's what I would. That's what I would say too. At least from the little bit I know about history, a lot of folks from Generation X were children of the crack epidemic. Specifically, if we're talking specifically about the black community, so you have these
Yeah.
dual issues. You have the children of the crack epidemic. You also have, like, in the 70s, 80s, and a little bit in the 90s, you have a white backlash from the civil rights movement. And so you have a lot of the social services and other services that Black people were receiving being undone during that time. So a lot of Black people, along with the crack epidemic, didn't have access to those services that helped uplift them. Then on the flip side, you have like the rise of affirmative action and like this push for Black people to kind of ignore their familial environment and become assimilated into society through career and through other things. And so what happened was, in some situations, a lot of the children that they had were largely ignored because they were dealing with all of these other things. And so
Someone
you have,
someone in the comments says boomers had outside families and created the same single family homes everybody talk about. Now, that's kind of true. At least I can say part of the family. When the baby boomers, I think they are a part of that epidemic that you were speaking about, because, I have uncles and family members that, were victims of that. So that did create a lot of generations, people that have different types of like things going on. And a lot of them actually decided not to have children, at least in my family. I don't know. I feel like Generation Y, we are the last of the die. We are the last of anything that makes sense, because
the millennials.
Yes, we are. We are the last one to remember doing everything the non-technological way and valuing interpersonal relationships in a certain kind of way. Z, I mean, it's the end.
I like Gen Z though. I like them.
Me too. I do too.
They are really out here like, you know what? We're not about to stand for this. I don't like it. We're going to say it. Like, I feel like that attitude is good.
And you don't think we were like that? You don't think millennials? Because the millennials now are current the ages of like 29 to 39, basically, or 28 to 38. I think that we...
I think it was different because, for us, we still have like, I think a lot of people in that age range of like being a millennial still have a lot of like deeply ingrained traditional things. Whether we are living by them or not or whatever, it's like at least a thought that a lot of us have. And I'm not saying at least like this needs to be the way or whatever, but it's a thought that a lot of millennials have. But I think like the younger generation, they're kind of trying to break out of these like norms that have just been going on for so long. In terms of certain things, not everything, but certain things.
It is everything. It's everything. They're trying to undo. They literally, every time I hear like not millennials, Gen Zs say stuff, they're like, they love this phrase. There's no right and wrong way to do things. Yes, there is. What are y'all talking about?
But
what are y'all talking about? There is a right and way to do things.
I think they're much more
now
tolerant.
These days, everything is non-conforming, and everything is just, there's no way, and everyone just do whatever, and it's just like no. They don't think that.
Whatever. They don't say just do whatever, because they will absolutely call out people that are on some complete nonsense. Just generally speaking. And I always think of TikTok when I think of like, this younger generation, be on there being problematic and see what people are going to say. They're going to call it out. The younger generations, especially. So like, I think some things are just different. Like some things that, people that are millennials or Generation X might think like, oh my goodness. They're just like, no, like that's not that big of a deal. It doesn't matter. They're more tolerant of different people, different viewpoints and all these types of things. And I don't see a problem with that. I think that's good. I'm glad.
Oh, just real quick to Big Bad Bull, because I see his chat in all caps about Generation X not being the children of the children of the crack epidemic. Yeah, that you're not accurate.
He's not.
So yeah. So when you talk about Gen X, we're talking about individuals born from 1965 to 1980. The crack epidemic started in the 70s, but gained popularity in the 80s. what age, right, were these folks that grew up in that era? They were children. So they are the children of the crack epidemic. Now, if you're talking about like, geriatric millennials, which were folks that, came after the 1980s or were born after the 1980s, yes, of course, they experienced a lot of that. There's folks in my family who are millennials that experienced their parents dealing with that. But the children of the crack epidemic were folks that it's Gen X. It's Gen X.
Jonathan,
I believe so too.
The sociologist.
I agree with that. The baby boomers that were really, and the Gen Xers were the ones that had to deal with a lot of that fallout. And then
Yes.
I think the millennials, kind of came in and things just started drastically changing with us. And now, but I just seeing what I'm seeing, because my family grew up in Boston, in inner city, where it was really an issue. And so I can attest to the fact that it's still an issue, with the generation of people. It's unfortunate.
I think that, okay. So Eugene, did you have anything you wanted to add about that? And somebody said something about is everyone a teacher? I think somebody in the comments said something like that. And
I think everyone up here is a teacher. Shout out to all of our teachers, teacher appreciation moment to all of our people that invest in our children and use what we have to give.
Absolutely. Eugene, what do you teach? What grade or what did you?
I teach math, and right now I teach algebra 2 and geometry.
Oh, so you're high school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Those high schoolers. Woo, jeez.
Oh, see, this
no. I'm like, how do you do it, Eugene?
I guess luck and prayer, because I mean the way these kids we're teaching right now, it's I tell you, it'll make it'll make you go crazy. You have to you have to really 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 be careful what you have to do with these teenage kids, especially the ones who were raised in chaos basically. And this is just what I'm talking about. I mean even us, I think some Generation Xers were like this as teenagers as well. And again, if you look forward, everything has gotten worse. It seems like I'm not for sure, as teachers, you have to really, find, everything that's fun for them. But the weird thing is, high school students, some of them seem to think they're still in middle school or even elementary school. And, you have to, give them something fun, but they have to see, look, you're almost grown adults now. Okay. You're about to leave the high school world to deal with the real world. But, the immaturity, can be really what's going to slow them down. And now when they get out there in the world, I fear, how they're going to deal with it, because they're going to be dealing with some issues. And, when they're dealing with issues, you have to be mature about it. And, right now, especially as 10th, 11th, even 12th graders,
they're not ready.
They're not ready. Yeah.
They're not ready at all. They're not ready. The lack of accountability, the lack of, they're just not ready. It's so unfortunate. But we also don't make it a smooth transition. Like, people make kids like high schoolers are literally within a year's time span asking to use the bathroom to responsible for their whole life. And it's not usually it's not a smooth transition. I mean, unless you go to college, but even though if your parents don't have the money to make sure everything's comfortable, it can still be a hard transition. So I don't know if we have the best transition here in the States, in America anyway, for how we are transitioning kids through adolescence into adulthood at sometimes they're just getting thrown out there.
I think school is not adjusting properly based on all the adjustments in society that have been happening. So I think like school is kind of still doing the old school way of things, you know, just in general in terms of the structure and how it's done, but it's not taking into account everything else that's going on in the world or in the country, you know, in America. So this is where we are, and this is what we're talking about.
Or even
Think about it. Like people are, I always think that kids now, like an 18-year-old now is different from an 18-year-old in 1970, is different from an 18-year-old in 1930. You know, the level of maturity is much different. Even like a 21-year-old in 1980 was probably more into like adulthood than a 21-year-old now, if that makes sense. So I think like school has a huge part to play in that, because things just aren't I was going to say edited, that's not the word, adjusted based on society. And I think
but society has also created some not unrealistic, but society has made everything so visible. And so it's creating a generation of people that think that everything is easy, and that like, oh, let me just start a company and start posting on Instagram and I have $1 million.
And that's why schools should adjust to make up for that, you know, to kind of counteract that. Because now, like if school's not adjusting, that's where the kids spend most of their time for most of the year. Like some kids see their teachers more than they see their parents, because by the time the parents get home, y'all eat, then the kids go to bed, wake up, go to school. Like it's a cycle. So I think that to your point, Kayla, that is why these adjustments need to be made, and these, you know, adaptations and whatnot, because a lot of kids are not ready, even like transitioning from 8th grade to 9th grade. A lot of kids are not ready. A lot of kids are not ready to go from 12th grade to college. They're not ready. And I think that is doing a disservice to the children, because it's not their fault. Like
it's really these parents. It's these parents that's not really raising kids. They just watching them till they old enough to like do their own thing. They're not raising these children. They're really not instilling any kind of boundaries in them. I was watching a show the other day where guys talk about, oh, I wasn't raised with people like telling me how I should be doing things. And I was like, what? What do you mean? So you didn't have any instruction? You think that's cute? That's not cute to me. Like I don't get that. Is that a flex? Like, you know, what are we doing?
The funny thing is, you know, for their lack of maturity, you know, some kids think they're grown and have no idea about what being grown is. You know, they think that, you know, just because they grew taller, you know, guys' voices got deeper, or girls' bodies are more developed, that make them grown. And they don't understand that is not what being grown is. Being grown is being responsible, which, you know, some of these kids are running away from responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that people are taking advantage of them because of that. I was watching a video on Vice about TikTok influencers, and I didn't know that they had like these TikTok houses that the kids move to when they're like 17, 18, and all they do is like generate money from like their million followers and other things. But what they did on Vice was they showed that like the kids don't own the house. It's actually owned by a company that takes 50% of what the kids make to get like the branding deals and things like that. And they're actually run by, you know, like middle-aged adults. And so you have these kids that are in there, they don't have any skills. They're not building any skills. They're spending the money that they get. They're not getting any education around their money. They're just being used to generate funds. And they like it because they're making 6-figure salaries, you know, from the branding, from those TikTok videos and things like that.
But it's not like long-term sustainable.
But number one, it's not long-term, like you said. And then number two, you know, there's other folks that are profiting off of it just literally by having them in the house. And I was like, man,
that
this
is crazy. I never that. That's crazy. 50%? That is ridiculous. That's crazy. I also think another a lot of shit started when they really started giving up the participation trophies. I don't know why they started doing that. They should have not did that, because now everybody feel like they're a winner when they didn't really do nothing.
Exactly.
Well, as soon as and Kayla, like you were saying earlier, like, our generation, we're the ones who kind of, were around before, social media was there, like Black Planet or something. But like
Well, for me,
MySpace.
not until like high school, there was no social media.
But I'm saying, like, it was in existence, but people still they weren't like as reliant on it as people are now. So like, with that being the case, if we're switching to this situation where everyone is like so much on social media and all of these things, like Jonathan said, that leaves so much space for people to be exploited. Like, and then you don't have, necessarily certain skills once you get older. Like, there are some kids who have millions of followers and they're little kids, like 7, 8, 9 years old. And then it's like, okay, so who's making sure that, I mean, I guess they're parents, but it's a thing. Just like, the whole child star thing, when like the people who were on, like, I don't know, shows from when our parents were younger, and then we kind of saw them on those shows, like what is it, like Unsung or something. Like, they've been like, in the spotlight since a child. But that same type of thing is happening now, but it's like social media instead of like TV. So it's just, I don't know. I think that the same way that boomers or like Gen Xers have raised like the Gen Z people and millennials and whatnot, and we see the outcome, and certain things are not in order the way that we would have hoped. That same thing is happening right now. So like the people that our age will be raising, and then the Gen Z will be raising, are going to be going through this same thing. And it's like, how do we stop this cycle? It just changes forms. Like, how does that stop, I guess?
Yeah, because I think for us, like millennials, I think we had like delusions of grandeur. And I say that because I started watching like all those old, you remember those old Black movies on BET, like Deliver Us from Eva and
Yeah. Oh, I
and How to
remember.
Be a
We
Player.
love the dramatics. Give us the drama, honey.
And I was looking at it and I was like, they're a VP of marketing at 28 for a national, for a corporation. They're a partner at a law firm. He's 26. And I'm out here as an adult, like, that's not happening for most people.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
We thought we could get out and just make $1 million. And it didn't.
But
It didn't work.
I think we always felt like, we've always been the generation that felt like you deserve to be there if you deserve to be there. Yeah. Unlike Gen Xers and baby boomers that feel like, oh, because you've been here for a long, that you just supposed to matriculate into this. Like, we don't care about that. Specifically millennials, we do not care about that. I have so many friends that have older people that are under them or work on their teams or work for them. And there's always this like, oh, you're young, you don't know, And it's just like, I'm in this position because I know how to do my job. And age does not matter anymore, where like that whole work your way up through the system. I mean, you can still do that, and that's still a thing, right? But like, millennials will just be like, you know what? I'm quitting this shit and just leave. Whereas like Gen X and baby boomers were taught like, you go somewhere, you stay there, you get your pension. Listen, we not happy. I'm going somewhere else. I don't care if I've only been here for 2 years and I'm only there for 2 years and I'm only there for 2. I'm leaving. See, this is not good for my mental health.
That has to do a lot with the way that capitalism and consumerism have shifted over the years, right? Like, back in the day, you could have your job at the Ford plant, I don't know, wherever, and work there from the time you're 20 till the time you're 65. And your wife, maybe she works, maybe she doesn't. And, you retire and you bought your house and all these things. But now that's not quite the same. You can actually like go to college, get a get highly educated, get into a field, depending on the field, and move really slowly to the
Yeah.
point
And
that
not make no money.
now you're job hopping, which I'm not against, because that's how you can up your salary depending on what field you're in. Now you're job hopping, so it's not that there aren't the same, I guess, benefits of staying at a company as much as there were those benefits in the past. Yeah, I think that's why that idea has changed. Because
So
you're
then
right,
what?
like younger people will quit a job. I mean, that's a so
Because there's so many, like the pandemic especially hurt
Oh.
these employers
so
with
many
thinking they
people
have
get
the
caught up with
leverage.
that.
You know how many companies I know that are short staffed? The Panera across the street has to close at 5 because
5
they're short
o'clock?
staffed. They can't even stay open late because they don't have staff.
Oh, so like literally, so many places are short staffed. I was just watching something on the news about like how many flights have to be canceled because there's just
because there's
are
not staff.
enough people to fly or be flight attendants. Like there's just not enough staff to get the flights going around. So
And it's just like, you know what? Y'all need to start appreciating these workers because the pandemic has allowed people to see that there's so many more effective ways to make money based on consumerism and all these other things.
there are so many markets. So many.
There is just you need to treat your employees well. And I will firsthand say that if I'm not happy somewhere, I just have to make the next move because I don't believe that with a certain generation of Xers and baby boomers, I feel like if the culture is a particular way there, it's not changing. It's not changing. It's going to be that way unless they really bring in like a new director of procurement or new director of like inclusion and all, and start like changing things up, which a lot of companies are not going to do. Nothing's going to change and you're going to constantly have high turnover and stuff like that. And people set in their ways, like,
while you were saying that, because I mean, I agree with you. While you were saying that, it just made me think of something. So you know how we have all this access to what everybody is doing every second of the day. You can know what Rihanna's doing right now. If you go on IG, like we know what everyone everywhere is doing all the time. I know you know. And I think that gives some people like this false sense of, I guess, like how in the past it was like a white picket fence. You can have this. Now it's like you can have this. And it's like because you're seeing it all day on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever. So I think that being pumped constantly on social media is what kind of fuels what you're talking about, Kayla.
Yep.
People saying, I can be happier somewhere else. Whereas in the past, people didn't have that whole thing. It was like, you got to have this job. You're going to raise this family and that's what you're going to do, regardless of how you feel. But now I think a lot more people have like our minds are so.
My mental health is important.
There's so many things that we just see so many options.
And it's the exact
I'm not about to stress me out.
Relationship.
Y'all not about to stress me out for no $65,000. Y'all better go ahead and move somewhere.
See, but that's easy to say when because you see online jobs being posted. You see online people doing different things. You see you can make money selling pictures of your feet or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
There are so many things you can do. But like in 1950, all of that information wasn't out there. So
you out here looking for the classified.
Yeah.
Because up until what? 20, maybe 20.
Right, exactly.
16, no, 2000, let's say 8, 9. That stuff wasn't online. You had to go down, get an application.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No. It was definitely online in 2009 because I remember I remember my first job was at McCormick and Smith's, and I went in to fill out the application, which they let me do. Then they said you have to go fill it out online so you can get in the system.
Oh yeah.
Like definitely. I think you're thinking more like 2001, 2002.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Where you had to do that paper application and everything was paper, and people still kept files on a wall somewhere with your name on the tab, right?
Yeah.
Now everything is in a system, automated somewhere ever since at least like 2007 or something.
And it's all around the world. Yeah.
Jonathan, to your point, I don't know why I had to reach back to 1950. I could have picked something much more recent. But Jordan, what's up?
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Jordan? What's
Hey,
popping?
How y'all doing? I love y'all show, by the way.
Thank you. You always support. Thank you so much.
I'm always
Appreciate you.
How y'all doing? I like the topic, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear it.
How are you doing?
Good, blessed. Happy Mother's Day to y'all, and nice to meet y'all, brothers. Good, just tuning in on topic because I'm interested in on it. Y'all know I don't really cam up much, but I'm starting to. So yeah,
Good.
Trying. So yeah, much love and yeah.
Do you have anything to say about like any of the stuff you heard tonight?
Yeah, I had to jump out because I'm part of the Patreon thing, so I had to jump out and jump in. But I really don't think kids should be friends with their parents until they at least, like what Kayla was saying, at least till they're like 21. Because I mean, like you said, they resent, and then at the top of that, if you just let them do whatever, they kind of like don't see no discipline. They don't really take you serious. So even when they's adults, they'll never take you serious. They're more like, oh, I can go chill with my mom or whatever the case may be. So I kind of disagree. I agree with you, but I disagree. But like, you should be friends with your kids. It's not.
Yeah, cool. When we were talking about that, we were kind of talking about that thin line and how sometimes a parent can like create a monster, quote unquote, because they're trying to be so cool with their kids, and then now the kid is like, "Shut up, mom! I hate you," and all this, and it's like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
So like those lines
ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think every parent has to be really careful with that because it's a thin line. I think
it'll affect them.
That discipline has to be there from a young age. It just has to be there from a young age. You have to know. Like, man, I used to get beat, but my mom used to give me not like, like, no, actually, yeah.
You're like laughing, like, yeah.
My parents are from South Carolina, so these days they would say it's child abuse or whatever. But I had the kind of family where, like, well, not the kind of family, but at least with my grandmother, where I had to go get off the tree. You better not bring no weak one either. That's gonna break. So, like, that was like a thing.
Playing no game.
I know these days people say, oh my gosh, but like that put the fear of God in me. I was literally like, I'm not about to do nothing. Like, I'm going home.
I know these kids nowadays, they like to call threaten like parents with CPS and all that. But in the 90s and 2000s, we had like, man, you used to get your butt whooped.
Oh yeah, I can attest to that.
Or switch.
Or belt.
Yeah, a belt, lay down. My mom used to talk to me before. She used to tell me why. She used to sit me down and be like, Kayla, do you know what it is that you've done? And then if I didn't get the answer right, she would tell me what it is I've done. And I'm doing this because I love you. And actions have consequences. So get ready for that. Yeah. And beat that ass. Like, what?
Uh-huh.
I cannot imagine my parents hitting me.
Man,
you never got whipped?
No.
Never?
Oh,
never.
Really?
And I was
Kay was the one in school that was like,
focus.
Present, I have an apple. Like, Kay was like, probably like
I was
star student. So she had no reason to get beat.
That's why you asked so many questions.
Class clown, and I was always disruptive. So
yeah, like I've always, and you know what, Jonathan? Yes, I ask a lot of questions, and it's because I was growing up. My parents were never like, because I said so, or get out of my face. Like, questions were always welcome. Like, I wanted to ask questions and I got to ask them. My parents are both really smart. My brothers are all really smart, like my grandparents. And it's just a thing I was always able to do, and no one ever dismissed it. So I became a really inquisitive child. I'm a really inquisitive adult. I love to learn and read and just, I don't know. And whenever people talk about their whooping stories, I'm like, so your parents like hit you with an object, and then you what? Like,
not just your parents, like aunties. Sometimes aunties and uncles too. Like, I had an uncle that was like in-law in the family. Don't let that man get a chancleta.
I know that it happens. It's just I can't see myself hitting a
Real.
defenseless child. Like what? I don't think, in my
But
opinion.
it's just like if you've seen a kid about to touch a hot stove, you're not gonna hit their hand.
Yeah,
Because
you
your words aren't going to be powerful enough in that moment. Like all I could think of is, hey, don't touch that. You know what I'm saying? Like me saying stop and that registering in their mind, I don't know how quickly that will go versus them feeling something and then like, you know what I'm saying? Like if the kid was gonna touch something hot.
So you're doing like the whole Pavlov's like classical conditioning situation. Like you're like hit them when they do something so that every time. I don't know. I don't know.
Because if you don't do it,
not every time.
Every time.
But your threats can't be empty.
Yeah.
You have to learn when your threats start getting empty and you got to start actually doing something. You can't be like, if you don't do that only works for a few years.
Then they
start being like, oh, you full of shit. And they gonna do whatever they gonna do.
You got punished though, right?
Do something.
I know, and they're gonna
You know what? I didn't really get punished because I didn't really, I mean, like Kayla said, Kayla, you were talking about the fear being instilled through whoopings. Like you were like, you know what, I'm not about to do this anymore. No. I had like a fear of disappointing or a fear of like, I don't know. It wasn't a fear of getting hit though. It was just, I had a fear, like a level of fear, like, man, I don't want my mom or my dad to like, you know, I'm just not going to do this or whatever. So I didn't really get punished much. I can't even recall a time when I was like grounded or something.
Wow.
Because I just didn't do stuff.
I got an option.
I don't know. I just didn't do many things that were. And then if I did do something, my parents would talk to me about it. We would come to some kind of conclusion. I guess a punishment that I did get would be like going to bed earlier than I usually go to bed.
That's it? You was just a good kid. Maybe you were just like, there are some kids that are just really like, they're good kids. I just was not that kid. I'm like trying to do my own thing always. So, I mean, we see that, right?
You said you're trying to do your own thing always.
Yeah, I always been the type that's just been like, I want to do whatever I want to do. And my mom was like, no, you're not about to be doing that. And then there was like years where there were so many empty threats, and then I got over it. I'm like, oh, she's not gonna do that.
Yeah,
and then she started doing stuff. I was like, okay,
like, oh no.
Yeah, I had two brothers, so we always used to fight, and you know, you have to. I don't encourage beating your children, but a little whipping, or you can get creative. You know, my dad loves standards. You will write, I will not disrespect my mother 5,000 times, you know, and if you by hand, and if you don't, until you're done, you're grounded and you're on punishment. So it would take a few days. We write it out.
You're writing for days?
Uh-huh.
Did your dad say, you know what? This has been long enough. Or did he stick?
No, we finished them. No, we finished them. Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm. And there might have been a punishment on top of that.
Yeah, physical.
What do y'all think about physical punishment?
I think it's neat. I mean, like belts and stuff. I think it's needed, but just on certain areas. Because I mean, I have.
No. I meant like physical activity. Like I have a friend who, like, when his son does dumb things, he makes him do like wall sits or like push-ups.
Oh wow!
Or like go run and stuff.
I think that's acceptable. My mom, she used to make us sit in the corner stuff. There's 16 of us though adopted, so it's like we all had to like. Yeah, she'd like do this, you do this, or you have to go stand in the corner, you do this, or you have to go cut the grass. I mean, she did some crazy stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not for any sort of physical punishment. And hey, everyone, I know it just got on.
Hi, Chimoge. Glad that you just jumped in. I was
Yeah. It's surprising to hear someone had a Nigerian parent didn't get whooped, but
dang,
I mean, there are always those.
Wow.
Those people, but yeah, I'm not for corporal punishment, honestly, because I mean, I got that growing up, but just thinking about it and even reading research on it, I actually just don't think it's even necessary. Because I'll give you an example. I'm like 24 now. I don't have kids of my own, but I have some little cousins, right? And I've babysat them and stuff, and I've never laid a finger on them. But when they're acting up, what I'll just do is just take away their toy. Like, say there's a toy or like an object they're just throwing, I'll take it away. And I'll tell you, I was surprised to the extent that they view me as a disciplinarian. Because even once, my dad called me on the phone and was like, "Oh, you're gonna take away their toys, right?" And I was confused, like, what? So then later I found out that they were acting up. So then my dad had threatened them by saying that if they kept acting up, I would come to take their toys. And they were like, no. So I say all that to say, you really don't need to lay your hands on a child or give them any sort of physical anything to discipline them. And if we're being real, if all you have over the child is the fact that you can essentially beat them up, once they outgrow you, they're not gonna respect you. I mean, because let's be real, right? Like
beat them
all
up.
All these.
I think.
Well, that's what it is, right? Like if
no, it's not.
If you're instilling the fear that if something bad's, I'm gonna hit you, right? You're basically saying, all right, I'm physically stronger than you. I can hurt you more than you can hurt me. That's the idea.
Me and my mom were pretty much the same height and weight. I would never try that though. It wasn't about that.
No, but I'm just when you're a kid, right? Because the idea with the corporal punishment is it starts when they're a kid, when they actually can't do anything, right? If you beat a 5-year-old, they're not going to beat you back. But if that person gets to be 16, 17, they could end up fighting you in the street. And I've seen that happen with other people. You know, I've seen people fighting their parents in the street, right? And, you know, even just as a further point, right? Because corporal punishment right now is most of the thing in the Black community. But all these people in the Black community that are doing things that, you know, we don't agree with, whether it be into violent crime or whatever, almost all of them were corporally punished. Clearly didn't help them, you know. So I think we got to let go of that idea. That's the way to go. Because even going on to the main topic of the show, right, whether or not you should be friends with your kids, I think that whole idea kind of stems from this idea that essentially like kids don't know anything and they're stupid, and because of that the parent has to be like a dictator to them, right? And then also has to punish every little thing harshly. But that's not actually true, right? Because if you look, say if you just want to take a cultural perspective on it, right, in African culture back in the day before colonialism and that stuff like brainwashed everyone, it was understood that like when you come into the world, you actually know exactly what you need to do, and if you follow your intuition, like things will be all right. So there wasn't this idea that you had to fight your kid every step of the way because they didn't know anything, right? But once people got to thinking a different way, now then you have this mentality of, oh, I have to fight my kid on every little thing because if I don't micromanage their life, they're gonna mess up, right? So then there becomes this dynamic, and I'm not saying there wasn't like elder respect back in the day, but at the very least now, I think it's more extreme in a lot of people's minds because they're thinking, all right, this child, I can't really, you know, be even with them on anything because they have to see me as like way up here. But I think what ends up happening in a lot of cases is that once that child gets to be an adult, they really don't have a relationship with their parents at all. It's kind of just very superficial. It's not helpful. So I say all that to say, I think we need to rethink the degree to which we, in my opinion, infantilize children, especially because it ends up continuing into adulthood.
Does it? Because I see the spankings have decreased and the kids are not better.
But have the spankings
the spankings have not decreased in the Black community. The spankings have not
spanking is working.
People are out here definitely spanking their kids. Like
really?
And I know that,
but they're not effectively communicating with them. Like I see what you're. When I lived in DC, I used to see parents.
Oh, you live in DC?
Nah,
I'm from PG County.
I used to see some things I didn't like with like parents just snapping on their kids at the smallest things, yelling at them, screaming at them, or hitting them over small things. Now, if there's a lack of maturity and judgment in that parent, then it can become a murky line. But I think for like intellectual, mature parents, you know where the line is. Like, I'm not about to beat you because I told you not to touch on it in the store. You still did. Like, I'm about to just be like, what did I say? You know what I'm saying? Like, there has to be lines to it. I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, life has consequences. And so I have to show you some when you do things that it's not the first time, it's not the second time we've spoke about this. And you did it anyway, and you knew it was wrong.
Think about I'm
Something
sorry,
has to
Josh.
happen.
When I think about it, I'm like, okay, you know what? I know that corporal punishment is legal. Like you can hit your kid. I'm not saying that it's illegal or whatever. I know that you can. But when else in life is that ever going to be the case? You've been late to work 10 times. Should your boss come beat you? Like, when is it ever going to be the case ever? Even as adults, we get grace to not be physically harmed for doing something that we weren't supposed to do. Now, if we're looking at a defenseless small child, like how can they not get that same grace? But I'm grown walking into work late 5 days in a row. Should my principal come beat me with a belt? Like, at what point in time do people get beaten? When you're an adult, if someone hits you, if someone does the exact same thing that a person does to their child during a corporal punishment situation, that person can go to court and be imprisoned. But
are you really
defenseless child? Why?
Are you really like hitting at someone out, an adult, on their bottom?
Anywhere you hit them,
are you I
agree.
A spanking is not the same as beating somebody's ass. Like, are y'all nobody's punching their kid in the face? Nobody's slapping their kid in the face or like assaulting their kid.
If your mom
I'm saying lay right here.
Kayla, if your mom gets a belt when you were little, or her hand or a slipper or a wooden spoon, whatever,
or a hand.
If your mom does that to you when you're little, if an adult does that to you now, you have a case in court.
But it's not comparable.
It's like
it's not, because that's a child that can't defend themselves.
I think it's
not about defense. I'm teaching you boundaries.
Yeah.
And
there are other ways it can be done.
Not all children will require.
There's other ways, but
I think there's other ways.
So much research about what happens when you hit children. There's so much.
But a lot of the research on corporal punishment is correct. But a lot of the assumption made about that is that we assume that consequences in our society are the same depending on who you are. And so there's situations, especially if we're talking about Black children in specific instances, where and I'm not saying beat them, but there's sometimes where you got to give them a little pain, because if they do that in a certain situation, it's going to cost them their life. It might cost them something that has to do with their family or friends. But it might cost them a lot more than a little slap on the leg. I'm not saying that it's correct. That's not what I'm saying. But I think a lot of what we have to do is come from a place of understanding and not just say, oh, well, Black people were doing it because they were deviant and they were just beating their kids, and white people don't beat their kids. That's not true.
That's not what I'm saying. I wasn't saying
it wasn't about the beatings, though. It was about discipline. Right. And you being able to control yourself. Right. That's the main thing about it, is that if you're not supposed to be doing this, that you not do it. Because that's what you need to know when you get out here, that you need to be able to control yourself in certain situations and know when to act and when not to act.
It'll save your life.
And different kids need different things. Not all kids may need that. Some kids, you sit them in the corner facing the wall, and that's traumatic enough.
Right now,
for me,
as adults. So it's not like, oh, it'll save Jordan. It's not, oh, it'll save your life, because there are statistics about this too. Kids who were beaten, kids who were hit, a lot of the people who grew up into adults that became, did different types of crimes or ended up in certain situations had been hit as children. So it's not like
abuse.
It's abuse, yeah.
That's different.
But this is another thing, though. Where do we draw the line between spanking and abuse? Because honestly, most Black parents don't know the difference, right?
Yes, they do.
Like,
that's not true.
Because I'm just saying,
child. You're not fighting your child. That's not what's happening.
A lot of Black parents be fighting their child. So
that's not what's happening.
Not just to limit to the Black parents, parents who spank in general. So it's just like they're like what most people call. I guess, let me say it like this. There is not one consistent definition of what is a spanking. When some people say spanking, they mean tap on the wrist. When other people say spanking, they mean I made my child bleed, literally. So there isn't even, and it's like there's no discussion of where to draw the line. And if you look at it scientifically and evidence-based manner, there isn't really a clear
but
there's no clear evidence that there is a healthy line once you've entered that realm of putting your hands in the child, if that makes sense. In other words, even the most minor acts of corporal punishment, there's evidence that it's detrimental. And so obviously there's levels.
So is there evidence, scientific evidence, that says that children that aren't beaten don't also commit crimes, don't also go to prison, don't also die?
They do.
Well, don't also.
Oh, I mean, I don't think that's the argument. The argument is that the spanking doesn't prevent that. So it's kind of like your child, say if your child is black and they end up going to jail, if you didn't spank them, at least they were only getting attacked by one source. But if you spanked their child and they went to jail, you gave them the worst of both worlds. See what I mean?
I'm not following that. Because I think there's just like this one-to-one comparison being made. And I don't think anybody's arguing that whipping your child keeps them from prison. There's a lot of other social factors that contribute to why people go to prison other than they got beaten when they were a child.
Well, no,
I'm trying to figure out.
Forgive me. I think I might have misunderstood your point earlier because I thought you were saying that one of the reasons black people spank their kids is because it will prevent them from doing something that'll either get them killed or get them in prison.
So
right?
No. I said in certain situations, in certain contexts, black people have had to discipline their children physically because of the kind of society that they lived in or the kind of space and place that they lived in. So, and I'm not going to give like examples because I don't want to generalize too much. But if you live in a certain context, even though it's wrong generally within that context, you have to understand the logic within that context.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. The point I was making is that even though they did that, and I know what you're talking about, it was ultimately ineffective because those kids that were spanked were still just as likely, if not more, to end up in those bad situations the parents were trying to prevent. Because I think another thing is that historically, at least over the last few hundred years, black parents haven't been taught the various ways they could correct their kids. All they were taught is spare the rod, spoil the child. So then the go-to is, all right, after a while, if I don't know what to do, I'm hitting the child. And that's before you cycle. Yeah, and that's before you even get to the fact that quite frankly, black parents, parents in general, but especially black parents, think their child is doing more wrong than they are, if that makes sense, because they're taught that the child has to, for example, be perfectly still. I've seen this a lot. You have parents with a toddler and they get anxious if the toddler's running all over the place. So now they're fighting the toddler to get them to stay still, when in reality, that's absurd. A toddler is going to run around and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's not even a fight you should be getting into with your kid. Just as an example.
If you're that young, I can understand.
That's not, I haven't seen that.
A toddler is totally different. But if you're 6 years old and I tell you to stay here and don't move, you need to stay right here and don't move.
A 6-year-old is still going to be running all over the place too.
No, they're not. I teach kindergarten and first graders, and I say, move over here to the wall, stand at the wall. Obviously, they can't do it for that long, but they can do it, and they need to be able to do it. Like if we're walking across the street and I say, stop right here, you listen to what I'm saying.
But Kayla, this is perfect because you teach kids dance.
Yeah,
and
I teach them how to do physical things with their body.
Right. And they listen to you. And if they don't listen, and if they don't, have you hit them?
No, I haven't hit them. But
exactly. But they listen to you.
But I'm also not their parent, and times aren't what they were.
If you're not their parent,
I do threaten them, no, and I do yell at them.
But if you're not their parent and you can get them to listen to you,
sometimes they don't listen. I've had to put multiple people out of class. I'm not doing this with you.
You're like,
I'm not your parent. I'm not your parent. So if you can't cooperate and know how to listen, you can go sit at the front desk with Miss. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they're just like, no, I want to stay in class. I'll do da. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not their parent, so I can't do that. But there has to be, even when it comes to the spankings, there has to be communication. And that is what I feel like is like, just like I told you with my mom, and you can't do it in anger. It has to seriously be punishment for actions taken. So when something happens, something will happen, my mom will be like, okay, that unacceptable. When we get home, we'll speak about it. Then we go to court. We get home, explain your side of the story, explain my side of the story. You know what? You're guilty. So I'm gonna have to punish you. I love you. I'm doing this because I love you. But this specifically that you did was wrong. Your explanation didn't match. It didn't go. Math not mathing. And now you get your punishment. But I don't think that it happens like that in a lot of households. That was my experience. But in a lot of households, parents just get mad and just lash out.
Yeah, it happened in my house.
And not even tell the kid what they did wrong. They're just like, no, or stop.
Yeah,
you know
I'll say even though I don't agree with corporal punishment, your mom's method is better than what 99% of Black parents do. I will say that. Because like you said, with most Black parents, it is just the anger.
That's why I'm not rocking with you, bro. Like, I'm sorry. You're going to have to say many. You're going to have to say a lot of. You're going to have to say, I'll even take half, but 99.9.
I mean,
but you know what?
I mean, from what I've seen and heard, it is like it is usually done in anger. That's what I'll say.
It can't be done in anger.
Now, the thing I'm going to push back on, Shimoge, because I agree that a lot of people, when they're hitting their child, they're mad. So if you're mad, you can't always control how hard you're hitting,
how much force,
child. Yeah. Now, the thing I'm going to push back on, Shimoge, is this whole thing about it being Black people. I think that generally, when people who hit their kids, regardless of race, do it while they're in the heat of the moment, so then they can't always determine how hard.
Okay. I should clarify. I think you're right. Of people who hit their kids across races, 99% of them do it in anger. So I wasn't saying that Black people who hit their kids are necessarily more brutal than people of other races who hit their kids. All right. I've talked to people from other cultures, right? But what I was saying is that Black people in general, at least more than white people, physically discipline their kids more than white people. If you're talking about like Asians and Hispanics, I think it's the same.
I've seen Black people. I've seen.
Hold on.
No. There are white people who corporally punish. I'm just saying.
Wait, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let's get Logic. Who is that? He's been waiting. Look at Logic.
Oh, that Logic.
Yeah, I'm trying to be disciplined. You see, I ain't say nothing.
You know, I wasn't.
That was working.
Logic, come on camera. Logic.
No, I already see y'all on camera instead of y'all see me. So you know what I'm saying? I put
so that's what we're doing.
You are hilarious.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Put some eye candy in these boxes. You know what I'm saying? Make it look a little technology. You know what I'm saying? My brother Nipsey up there with the African brother, he got his picture sideways when he cut off his camera. Y'all see it? Hey, cut off the camera again,
I don't know
brother.
what that's about. It's okay.
No, he's calling you out.
No. Cut off your camera again, brother. Watch your picture sideways. Cut off your camera. See that? His picture sideways.
Oh, you're crazy.
Hey, y'all got a crazy pattern. One dude picture sideways, the other dude laying in the closet with sparks flying out of that box.
No, I am literally in my closet. It's a thing on my channel, which everyone should check out, by the way. I do reaction videos from my closet. Yeah.
Hold up, man. I know you gotta hit the super chat.
No, this is literally my closet. Like, check it out. Like,
he's hot.
This is dead ass.
Yeah,
because this is the quietest place I could go in my apartment, if that makes sense. So
I thought you were.
Well, whatever floats your boat, darling.
Hey, I want to add something to it though. See, and y'all know I normally don't play this race thing, especially in favor of the Black people. I think we are accountable for what we do. But wait, Kayla, see, I can even say that. You already triggered.
None of us.
Wow, you said race thing, so I was like, "What?"
No. I'm just saying I don't like to make excuses for like what Black people do.
Facts.
But I'm gonna put this out there, and y'all tell me what y'all think.
Okay.
Coming up, Black, the consequences for doing stupid stuff, it was insane. You know what I'm saying? I mean, especially back in the day, you'll get killed. You know what I'm saying, for making a mistake where somebody of the opposite race, you know what I'm saying, they'll get more grace. A young boy go steal something from the store, and then you know what I'm saying, he might get, you know what I'm saying, hung, he might get whipped in the street, you know what I'm saying? His consequences that he had to deal with, it was overboard. So if actually like you start doing research and you start seeing, that's why the whole concept "I'm gonna beat it out of you" came from, because it's like I'm gonna make sure that you understand that if you do this, it can cause your life. So ideally, that's why our parents got beating our ass from. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, look at it. You can do something like you can look at a white lady the wrong way back in the day, and you know what? You possibly couldn't come home.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Depending on how people feel. You can go rob something, you can go steal a piece of candy from the store. You possibly will lose a limb depending on how the people felt at that time.
And not just you, your whole family.
Yeah.
So that's the whole concept I understand. But I think Black people now need to kind of get it with time, because if you want to know the worst ass whooping somebody ever got in the history of man, I guarantee your Black mama probably delivered that shit.
Oh my God.
I think that it is a cycle. I think that you're right. Like, things started a certain way for a certain reason, and now it's just like, well, I was beat, now I'm gonna beat. Like, it's a cycle. You just pass down these beatings. But I think that, like, or whoopings or whatever you want to call it. But I think that, like Chimoge was saying earlier, and even with Kayla's example, when she was talking about how she gets her kids in order at dance, like, there are other ways, there are other options. There's so much information now. There are professionals at your fingertips. You can literally find any information you want. There are people that are willing to help, that are professionals. Like, maybe, like, you know, a long time ago, all of this wasn't available and all this. And I get it. Like, it's a cycle. So I'm not saying like people are just going to wake up one day like, we're going to stop this. I get it. But I think that we need to start moving away from that model, because it does not work. It doesn't.
It doesn't work for the kids, but there are still kids out there that it works for.
I just want to know why y'all think white people do less of stuff than Black people do.
Because I've talked to them. I've talked to them. Like,
what does that mean?
No, because they literally tell me what goes on in their house, or they're going, "Oh man, Karen's a bitch." And I'm like, "Who's Karen?"
You cannot use the scientific method for one instance and not use it for the next instance.
Okay.
If you're going to use the scientific method to explain why children should not be beat, you cannot use the scientific. You cannot be like, I heard from white people. I will say, I think I have heard of studies where they've objectively shown that less white people use corporal punishment than Black people, but I will admit I don't remember for sure. So it is primarily based off of my intuition, based off of my personal experience and interactions. Okay. You know, so I guess it's possible that white people say corporal punishment is bad more than Black people, but they do it the same. So I will admit maybe that's possible, because it seems like you've seen something different. I mean, I grew up around white folks, and in my experience, I've seen Black people give the most restraint in their whippings.
Really?
Real, like, oh my!
That said what?
Yeah, and they don't use belts and stuff. It's like race car tracks, the little NASCAR tracks.
Wait, what?
It's all kind of stuff.
All I know is that it's better that your mama beat your ass than somebody in the street.
Look,
all right.
Look, you must not be from the South, brother.
No, I'm not. I'm from the West Coast.
I can tell. See, you spoil. Look, and y'all had rights and freedom down there. If you were in the South, look.
Not right.
In the South, in every project in the South, right? It was this thing that it was like a rubber piece that actually like kind of keep the wettering out from the screen door. Black mothers used to pull that up.
I know what you're talking about.
And they used to call it rubber. That motherfucker used to put, bro, I'm telling you, and it just wasn't one mama that doing it. It was like you can tell when your homeboy did something crazy, because you know what I'm saying, he's sitting on one side of his ass cheek. You know what I'm saying? You see, you at football practice, you know what I'm saying? He pulling off his shirt, you know what I'm saying? He like, man, what happened to you? He like Kunta Kinte. You know what? Bro, hey, look, the thing is Black moms were 21 Savage. But see, I can kind of understand why they had to be 21 Savage, because especially being raised in the projects, if they didn't get control of them kids by any means necessary, something else was going to get control of them. So it's kind of, if you want to be honest with you, it's similar to slavery. It's like outside that house, you know what I'm saying, when you do stuff, it's like, you know what I'm saying, the consequences was dire. You know what I'm saying? You might not come home for doing something stupid. You see what I'm saying? So now it's the same thing. So now you had black women that actually had to go through extreme measures. But nowadays, I think it's something that needed to actually be toned back because it's something that was passed on through traditions.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do y'all think? I do want to know what logic. Oh, sorry.
Just to address this, somebody in the chat is saying that corporal punishment, as it relates to what we're talking about with kids, is illegal and Child Protective Services will take your kids. No, it's not. I'm a mandated reporter. So are Kayla, you probably are. And
yeah, I've had to get certifications.
Jonathan, you are too. Corporal punishment is not illegal. Some form of corporal punishment in terms of kids is legal across the country of America. I mean, I'm in different places, maybe it's different. So saying that is illegal is totally false. And no, Child Protective Services are swamped. You have to really be doing something horrible for them to even, and that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but like I know for a fact that they let a lot of things go through.
Yeah.
Including,
really?
Yeah.
I mean, because you obviously have more experience than me, but I kind of heard the opposite, that they get called on black parents and take the kids away, even though the parent wasn't really doing anything, or at least nothing that warranted separation. Like it was something that could have been worked through. That's what I heard. I have no personal experience with it.
You mean like the kid does it, or the kid
no? Like say, for example, some black parent, gets in a dispute with another adult. The adult is spiteful. They call CPS, and then CPS finds out that the parent was using corporal punishment, and then they take the kid away when that is not the solution to that problem. That's the kind of thing I heard about.
Unless it was something just egregious or heinous or something, they're not taking the kid away. They try to keep kids in the home with their parents or whoever as much as they possibly can. If someone calls and said, like I've even had kids at school, just, we have to report anything they say. I've had kids at school say someone was hitting them or whatever, and you report it, and the person comes and talks to you. They talk to the kid, they take some pictures, and that's it, and they go home. They're not taking people out of a home unless it's something that's like very serious, at least in the state of Illinois. I don't know about everywhere else, but I'm assuming just based on like the system and foster care and all these things in the state that it's in, they're not just taking kids out of homes. They're not.
I got took out of my mama home because she had me in the closet.
You probably need to be in there and think about what you've done.
No, I'm saying I was in the closet right next to the damn electricity box, man, and they saw me on YouTube and they took me out of the house.
Now, why?
You're not right.
Here I am feeling sorry.
You are not right, Logic.
If anyone wants to see more of me in the closet, right? Because I do my reaction videos, I call them commentary reactions, like commentary and reaction together.
And you have this same like closet situation in your videos? Yeah,
the last two videos I'm doing in the closet. I call it the commentary reaction closet now. So if anyone else wants to see,
Jonathan's like, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good come up story for when you hit it big and you be like, I started in the closet, man. I was right next to the electric box.
That's true. That's true.
But I don't know though. The closet and black man word don't gel together, right?
It's not that type of
logic. Is real though.
Hey, I'm serious, man. Closet and black man, I'm telling you, don't do it, man.
It's not that type of closet.
You might not come out.
Orisa, tell me how to say your name.
It's Orisa.
Orisa. Hi, nice to have you here. Thank you for your patience.
Hello, how are you? Well, I'm gonna agree with Kayla on this. When you because I do believe in physical discipline, to a certain extent. I did raise 4 sons. None of my sons are felonies. They're all adults, married men. Well, 2 of them are married, 1 is engaged, and I have 4 sons, and I only have 2 grandchildren, college educated men. You have to have a balance with that. You can't go taking your personal because you had a bad day at work, and then your kid do something bad, because that will happen. Then you're going to take all that frustration out on your child. So you have to have a balance with it. And I also, as for me, I didn't discipline my kids for every little bad thing they did. Some things just didn't warrant a whooping, okay? They will really have to do something really bad for me to tap their behinds. And because I had sons, and eventually they grew to be big boys, like 6'3", 300-pound, play football through high school, you can't go whooping on no 13. When he was about 13, you can't no longer whoop them. So if you don't have them under control and let them know that you are the leader of the household at a younger age, then it's almost too late to do that. Because some people try to still whoop their kids when they're teenagers, and to me, that game over. If your kids don't respect you, by the time they're literally like 9, 10, it's over for you. You can't I really do have big boys, and I did discipline them, but like I said, I didn't whip them for everything. Now I know somebody said that they didn't have to discipline their nieces and nephews, right? That's because they're your nieces and nephews. When they're your children, game changes. You may have to discipline your kids. You may not. I have a girlfriend that didn't discipline her kids. Her kids turned out just fine. But then I know some that didn't discipline their children, and they're totally disrespectful, don't know how to respect adults and everything. So I guess it depends on the child,
That's what I said earlier, that it really depends on the child. Not all children need that physical. The threats work for some kids, or go sit in the corner, go to bed early works for some kids, and other kids it doesn't. So I just think it depends on the type of child.
Yeah, I know somebody that never discipline their daughter. She's older now, like in her 20s, but you can't have a conversation with her because she'll just start crying. She's never gotten a real like a spanking before. Like, to me, you got to show some type of you gotta. I just didn't think it was a good idea to not ever discipline her, because sometimes the mouth was just a little too smart. But I don't, agree that you should just go upside your child's head with your fist or anything like that. But I did use the belt. Sometimes I did use my hand on their behind and legs. But after a certain age, I couldn't go hitting my 13, 14-year-old son, and I'm looking up at him like,
at that time, now you got to discipline them other ways.
I got a question,
no phone, no television, something like that.
So I know Jonathan has to go soon. I know.
It's real quick.
So let's. Okay, go ahead.
Did you ever put her son in the closet?
No.
This is
logic. This is why.
No, that is cruel and unusual punishment. Okay.
Cruel and unusual.
Logic.
Closet is guilt. I want the belt, Mama. I can't stand that closet. Last time I got executed by that fuse box.
Logic.
But also the disciplinary comes from the man, and that's missing in a lot of households.
That's another thing Jonathan. I was.
Oh. Wait, hold on, y'all. Let's get Jonathan, because he has to hop off. So Jonathan, thank you for coming. Do you have any final thoughts that you want to give?
No, that's bull crap. I like Jonathan. He always running for me. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, I still have to work, man.
He got to go to an African.
Logic, it's your fault that he's leaving.
No. They told me that I can come back on for the love of Logic. I'm waiting for that show.
It's coming, y'all. It's coming. I'm still getting the ladies together, but it's coming.
Kayla's been vetting a few candidates.
Yes, please DM me if you're interested in being a contestant and being just like a person on For the Love of Logic. We will be just doing interviews and things like that at the tail end of our show.
Hey, no, Jonathan, you got to be a guest judge though, and you got to be like, hey, you got to be like, can y'all ladies please stand up and see we can see your thigh?
Okay, Logic. No, that is not what's going to be taking place. We're going to be judging the lady's character and substance. We're not going to be judging asses. That's not what the
or you said, or Jonathan, you can say, can you please pull up your shirt, let us see your back, so we can make stab wounds. No, I'm just saying you gotta look out for me.
What?
We can bring Minister Jab. Let's bring Minister Jab, and so he can play that organ.
See, ladies, this is what you're getting yourself into. So if you do enter For the Love of Logic, know that you will always be highly entertained.
No, just don't have no stab wounds, and make sure you know your waist to
Get them on the runway.
waist to stomach ratio. You know what I'm saying? We got to do a little runway.
Stab wound.
Stab wound.
What in the
What?
hell?
Yeah, we got to do that. Like, I want to see their back. You know what I'm saying? I want to see if they
He doesn't want a
rubbers.
crazy woman. That's what he's
Got some
saying.
scars.
He wants to check the person's body for any stab wounds. Okay.
Yeah, he
You know
wants to
what?
make sure
Logic,
she's
just
not
say
into
less. Logic,
she's
just
not
say
getting
less.
herself in crazy
Okay?
situations.
Let me handle this.
But I'll just say last thing because I gotta go. First off, happy Mother's Day, ma'am. Just wanted to say that to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, I am not a proponent of corporal punishment of any kind, but I do understand that in certain situations, certain things, have happened. Maybe we need to, rethink that and have more conversations around that. But I definitely get it. But y'all, thank you for having me. Appreciate y'all, everybody here right now, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jonathan.
All right, have a good one.
Don't. Hey, play the Shaka Zulu music when he leave. Don't.
I cannot. Logic is hilarious.
So, Arissa, I had a question while you were talking. You were saying, like, certain people that did or didn't discipline their children, and the results of that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask because I don't want to assume.
Go
Are
ahead.
you equating discipline to physical punishment? Because there are other ways that you can discipline, and I know you know that. But when you said
Yeah.
discipline, is that what you were speaking of?
Yeah, like a belt. I did use a belt on my sons when they were younger, when they were at certain ages, when they were, like a 2-year-old, they're going to run around, they're going to do stuff. But, you kind of really want to get a hold of them, not really spanking. Look, I had my sons, why you about to touch that iron? They sitting there about to touch that iron. You got to tap their little hand because they going to touch it. And I was faced with stuff like that, but yeah, just with their belt, mainly with the belt, because when with corporal punishment, I know in the state of Michigan, you can definitely physically, you can whip your children, but you can whip them with a belt and not your hand. That's the way their law worked out. So you can whip them with a belt, but if you go hitting them with your hand, then that's where in Michigan, you cannot discipline your kids. But that was when I was raising kids. They're older now. So, yeah.
Jordan, do you have kids?
Sometimes that belt.
No, I don't have any kids.
Okay, so Arissa, you're the only parent. Well, no, is Logic still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so Logic and Arissa, you are the only parents here. Chimoge, you don't have kids, right?
No.
So can you all give some other ways of disciplining that don't have anything to do with physically harming children?
Ooh, easy.
They're not harmed.
Yeah, electricity punishment.
No,
I'm telling you, electricity punishment.
What is that?
Huh?
Look at
What is
Kayla.
that?
What is that?
No, so
Logic is just
anything that requires electricity, they're on punishment from it. And I'm telling you.
Oh, taking away like your devices.
Yeah, that we just call electricity punishment. That's what I mean. That's how I do my kids. And look, you get the opposite reaction. See, my daughter. I never hit my daughter ever, like ever. But my son, he be like, Dad, nah, ain't no way you finna take my game. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, you know what? Get to me. Like he want that. But it's a difference because, like I said, if I can yell at my daughter, and I think it's probably being a man. I can yell at my daughter and she'll just break down and then I feel bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? That shit, it'll crush me. So I can't imagine how I feel if I hit her. But like with my son, I don't know. I think it's something with boys. They don't give a rat's ass. They don't care. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can tell him not to do something and he'll just go do it. I'm like, boy, I don't want to beat you, but why would you do that? And then, you know what I'm saying? And then you have to train yourself. And I think the beautiful thing about being a parent is you know your kids, so you always can come up with a creative way to punish them without going upside their head.
I guess that's true. I get it. We're working on new ways of parenting. I understand. And I think I will follow all of those things. But if I feel like an ass woman whooping is necessary, I will not hesitate to give one out.
I do agree.
Yeah.
Because I would rather be the one than someone in the streets being the one. You know what I mean? I believe as long as it's done in love, is appropriate. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. There's a level and there's a line. And as long as you're not crossing it, like I think that with certain children, you know, other children, it may be easier, but with certain children, that's what it takes.
So, Kayla, when I said electricity punishment, what do you think I had? Like some jumper cables and a battery?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what are you trying to do?
That sounded like.
Are you trying to electrocute your child? Like what?
That's what that sounded like.
Go ahead and take a fork and stick it in that socket.
You know,
I've heard of some parents giving crazy punishments to their kids. Like there's there's people I know growing up, or like one set of siblings. Apparently, their mom would put hot peppers in their butt to punish them.
That's abuse.
That's abuse.
That's abuse.
Yeah, like
how they
crazy.
get it in there?
I cannot.
That's like sexual abuse, though.
Low key.
I mean, seriously. Oh my God.
But some people do crazy things. So
no, I think my kids hate being in that closet because of the air circulation.
You know what? Logic is not going to let this go.
That
closet in the closet is never going to be let go.
Hey, Mr. Logic, check out my videos. You can see more of it.
I know. And I'm gonna come in there with all kind of jokes too. You know what I'm saying? You probably got ass.
Hey, I want to see you in the comments. Watch the whole video, then be in the comments.
Now I do want to. Oh, Miss Kay was talking. Kay talking.
Sorry, I was muted. Arissa, as the other parent on the panel, Logic told us about his electricity punishment, which was kind of confusing at first, but then he clarified, taking away electronics. So what are some of your methods that you have used that did not involve physically, like hitting, I guess, your children?
You definitely want to take away stuff. But really, be honest with you, although I was divorced and lived in another state, really, if I called their daddy and they heard their daddy's voice over the phone, they straighten up. It was just something that I had to do as being a woman. And I had to, you know, show some type of authority, but their dad, their voice of their daddy, that would scare them over the phone. Yeah.
Well, like I said, the fathers are the disciplinarians, and a lot of them are missing from these households. So,
yeah,
that's true.
That's another thing. Also, I've noticed. I think with fathers that are involved in their kids' lives, we need to teach them a balance with how to give discipline, because they do tend to give discipline more, but a lot of fathers overdo it, and then that can strain the relationship with the kids. So I don't know I think we need to teach more fathers about a balance. Like you can discipline without going overboard.
Bro, no, you see, I'm not gonna let you lie like that. No, fathers don't. No, look, you trapped in the closet, player. Actually, fathers can help me. Trust me. Look, abuse comes from women because of women don't really know. Like, they don't know. They try to be, especially like, you know what I'm saying, the sister that says she got like big 7-foot boys or whatever. So, you know what I'm saying, she's not made for that. So she will go overboard. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that she want to hurt her kids, but she'll go overboard because she's dealing with that. See, a father is different. And then like I said, with my son, he'll rather get a whooping from me than his mom. Because
that's another thing, Logic. Yep.
Because it's gauged, and then I can gauge myself also. But like with a woman,
let's not do that. Men and women.
You get triggered because it's a woman.
But I don't think that fathers should discipline physically their daughters. Like my mom, my parents, my dad never like physically like any whoopings my mom would give. She just felt like your dad is just not Like, she, you know, she just felt like we weren't doing that. That my dad, you know, would handle my brother and my mom would handle me.
Yeah, that, like, to clarify what I was saying, I agree with
Kay
that.
don't want no facts though. Kay want me to get up here and tell a love story.
No, logic. Logic. All I'm saying is that we cannot act as if women are the ones. Men and women both hit children. Oh, that was my alarm for nighttime. Men and women both hit children, fathers and mothers. This is not, we can't say just women or more.
Oh, you see, you didn't hear what
the reason that, you know, well, most kids live with their mom. Like, there are more heads of households, I guess, that are mothers than fathers. So that can account for the difference there. But like, just trying to make it seem like or act like fathers know how to keep their cool and mothers go overboard, I don't think that that's.
No, see, that's not what I said. See, you got a little trigger.
What did you say?
I just gave you an example with this lady right here that said she got sons that went up to, that was like 300 pounds, 6 feet 4, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
She know that boy is big. Like, if she actually popped that boy, you know what I'm saying? It was times I'm pretty sure he laughed at her. You see what I'm saying?
He did.
Exactly. So, and then now she had and it's hard to kind of gauge that because you know that it's not doing nothing to him. So you got to gauge it. So you do one or two things. Either you pass him to a man, because now I know, because I deal with men every day. So I know how to actually say and say, you know what, I'm going to give you something, but I can do it with restraint.
Mm-hmm.
See, a woman can't do that because y'all body's not designed for that. So you just got to deal with the fact. Just like me, I'm not going to try to punish my daughter ever. If she ever get a whooping, and I don't even think she ever got a whooping, but if she ever got a whooping, it came from her mom.
Yeah, I
not
agree.
for me.
Yeah,
Cross that line, because I know I can't gauge a female. So I know I will be over the board. So what make women think that they can gauge men properly if they're not a man?
Yeah, that's true. I'm sorry. I just read a study according to Statista.com. In the United States, it says more perpetrators of child abuse were women compared to men. And this is as of
more kids live with women than men.
That's true. Well, it says in 2020, 248,338 perpetrators of child abuse were women compared to, I mean, it's not that off. And then 225,020 male perpetrators. So it's not like the numbers were off, but like you said, Ms. K, that it's because more women are raising children. But at the same time, I do believe there's a lot of emotional spankings going on. Like, they taking out their frustrations. You know, I've seen it. I've seen women, they're frustrated.
We talked about that earlier. I think Chimoge or I don't know. We talked about it earlier. I think a lot of spankings are emotional, regardless of who gives them. You're mad, you're in the moment, your kid did something you didn't like, you're emotional. That's not just only women.
Because definitely with men, and I want to clear what I was saying, because Mr. Logic, I do think there is a lot of truth to what you're saying. Like, in a lot of cases, that is how it plays out. However, there are a lot of cases where it plays out differently, because not every man is totally in control of himself. So some will not do the proper gauging. And especially if you're dealing with small kids, because before puberty, right? A young boy, even though he's a boy, he's really small. So if you go too hard on him, you can cause problems. But even when it comes to the emotional thing, like, a lot of men, if their life isn't going good outside of the home, then their home is the only place where they can feel like they're the boss. So then they could end up taking it out on the kids, and then of course even the wife as well. And that's how a lot of domestic abuse situations can happen. But then also,
let's put a test to it right now. We got women and men on the panel, and then you don't got no kids, and Kay don't got no kids. Kay, if you was to hit a young man, right, where would you hit this young man at?
I wouldn't hit him.
But I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking.
I wouldn't hit him.
Okay, well, since you don't want to play the game, all right. So now I'm gonna ask this brother right here, trapped in the closet, dude. Right now, you know, most of the times, since Kay don't want to play, right? See, we hit men in their muscles.
Well, yeah.
So right in the arm. Women don't do that. Women hit them across the back. Women hit in the butt. And let's be honest, they hit them on the head.
So we're not going to talk about the muscles in the
I don't know.
posterior
I've
chain,
seen
like muscles are there.
I've seen a lot of, although Mr. Logic, to be fair, I've seen a lot of men and heard of a lot of men who will like punch their younger son in the gut. You know, they will punch him in the face. Like I hear a lot about men disciplining their sons by punching them. Like, so
don't make me start calling my friends. They got a whole lot of kids. And look, I'm telling you, I see all of them. They punch their boys in the arm, right? And I see their mom do the same. She don't do the same thing because her arm punch ain't gonna be that much. So you know what she try to do? She try to go for the most vulnerable part of the body, and she always popping that boy in the head. I'm telling you, you see slaps on the head. Women slap.
I'm not doubting that's what you're seeing.
I'm telling you, hey, look.
I'm not doubting that's what you're seeing, Mr. Logic. I'm just saying I've seen and heard a lot of other things. So I think it
you don't see that because you're in the closet all day. Shit, I wouldn't see that.
But after I get off this camera, I'm walking all over the place. But one other thing I wanted to add though is that part of my original point was that when it comes to men dealing with their kids, they're already fighting an uphill battle in terms of getting close to their kids just based off of nature. Because generally speaking, a kid is naturally going to be a little closer and more forgiving of their mother just because of biology and things like that. Like, you know, they were literally joined with their mother for 9 months. And even if you just look at the nature of masculine energy versus feminine energy is more of a joiner. So you're going to even feel more connected to your mom. So because of that, I think because a lot of times the men just from nature are starting from an uphill battle. If they go too far with the disciplining, then they end up being really distant. So that's why you hear of a lot of cases of people having distant fathers. Even if the father is there, they feel like they were emotionally distant. So that was kind of where my point was coming from primarily, that we need to have a lot more men, because I'm not saying necessarily all of them or even most of them fall into this trap, but it's a lot, right? So we need to teach men to be more cognizant of that so that they give just the right amount of discipline instead of going overboard and then ruining their relationship with their kids.
Yeah. And, you know, overall, outside of disciplining your kids, you really do have to communicate with your children. You really do have to have those talks with your children about consequences and everything. I did a lot of talking to my sons because although I was a divorced mom, of course, that made me a single mother. And me and my ex-husband, we shared custody of our kids, but they were still with me more. But I say communication is really going to be your best thing. I mean, you do want to spank. I mean, I'm just saying I spanked my sons, but I just didn't spank them all the time. They'll tell you that. I really didn't always spank my sons. It was some things that they did bad. They just made me so mad. I did need to hit them at that time because it was gonna be ugly, you know. So you got to know when to really, if you need to discipline your kids. Now I do have 2 grandchildren, and with my oldest son and his wife. And at first they're like, we're not going to discipline him. We're not going to discipline him. But one of them need a little tap every now and again. But it's more so with maybe my daughter-in-law, not my son, because his voice, if I just say, I'm going to call your dad, when I'm up there visiting and my grandson do something, I say, you know, I'm getting ready to get on the phone and call your daddy. He would just start crying really bad because he knows that, okay, he knows that my son will get on to him if needed. But my son, he really just had to just use his voice to really control him.
So, Arissa, you shared with us that you were, you know, I guess you and your ex-husband had like kind of joint custody, but your kids were mainly with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you also shared that you know, you could just call their dad and they would kind of straighten up, like, look, I'm gonna get it together. Nothing else even needs to happen. So would you say, can you share about if you think that if your ex-husband were in the house, would you be whooping less? You know what I'm saying? Do you think that there would be less whoopings if based on all the things that you're saying? So like your ex-husband was in the house because he's the one that you said you could just call and they would straighten up, but you ended up having to give like actual whoopings sometimes. So how do you think that affected the amount of whoopings that you had to give as a mother who was raising the children without the father in the house?
Definitely affected it. I do believe that, even I've heard women say they don't believe co-parenting is enough. They really do believe that their man need to be in that house, in the home. So I do believe that it affected it. And like I said, I didn't have to whip my children that much, but I did give it to them sometimes. But I do believe it would have been even less had they known, okay, daddy gonna come home, and we already know how he is. So let's help him straighten up because we don't want to deal with him, So I do believe it's very, very, for the man that's there, it's very, very important for the father to be in the home. And that's what I would love to see more of. And it was just it was so important for my sons, look, because he was with him before they got married. My daughter-in-law did have my oldest grandson. And I just stressed to him how important it was for him to be there. You have got to find a way to be there. And he did, they married, they were already together in a relationship anyway. And now they have a second son. So have a 7-year-old grandson and a 1.5-year grandson. And it's just very important for the man to be in the house. It truly is. So yes, Ms. K, it would have made a better difference. To me, it would have.
Thank you for explaining that. That's what I was thinking, and I agree with you that it's very important for fathers to be in the home, healthy, happy relationship, mother and father together, raising kids. So thank you for sharing that perspective. Yes, Logic.
Hey, look at me. I want to look in your eyes. I want to just see something. I just want to see something.
I can't even see you.
You don't need this. I can see. All right, there you go. I saw it. You're going to have a boy, and he going to be a terror.
No.
Yes, he is. Hey, invite me to the first birthday party. You know what I'm saying? I'll give him a little Cadillac truck just so I can see him run all over your ass.
What?
Yes, I will give him a Cadillac truck.
Wishing that on her.
Over your ass.
I'm telling you.
Logic. Do not speak that.
Don't wish that on her.
Somebody was like, "Hey, I heard you're pregnant." I'm like, "No, I'm not." So Logic, let's not perpetuate or put this out in the world. I'm not
pregnant. You just had a honeymoon too, didn't it, right?
I'm not pregnant.
That should be crazy. It'll be the first baby of Lapeef.
The Lapeef baby.
The Lapeef baby.
Hey, Kay, can you drop the link? I'm trying to drop the link. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I'll put it
showing up when I drop it, but
yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats on the marriage.
Hey, don't say congrats. Why don't y'all hit that Amazon little thing? Oh, I gotta hit it too. Hold up, I'm finna put in the back chat. Oh, y'all look, y'all better support marriages. And I don't even want to hit it. I want to give you something in person though, so I'm not gonna hit it. But everybody else need to hit it. Can you put it in the back chat for me? Okay.
What, my Amazon wish list?
Yes.
There's the link in the chat, y'all. Click that link, y'all. Good.
Oh my goodness, y'all are. Oh, I'm a
family. You know what I'm saying? All they gotta do is give you like some little kickball socks or something like that. That's on your wish list.
I'm gonna put it back there.
Yeah.
Put it back there.
She got kickballs, basketballs. I say, what is Kay?
What are you doing?
Teacher?
Logic. Let me not even say anything. I'll talk to you about it later. Kickballs, no. But I'm gonna put that link in the back. KA312 on Cash App if anyone wants to. Send some money. I'm just saying. I am going to bring up Billy the Kid, and then we're gonna
bring up Billy.
Maybe a couple more callers, and then start trying to wind down a little bit.
I'm about to conversation with Kale. Say she wanted to come up too. I don't know if she back there.
Who?
Conversation with Kales. She was in the chat.
Tell them to click the link. I don't see him in the back.
The link I just put in the chat.
Okay.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. I see it now.
Congratulations, Kate. Congratulations, Kate. Yeah.
Hit that Amazon link, Billy. Hit that Amazon link, Billy.
Get off my ass, man. Get off my bumper, bro.
Logic, I like what you're doing. I like it, Logic. You are down for real. I like it. I can respect that.
Just on that energy, I'm gonna hit it. I'll go ahead and do the damn thing.
You from
Thank you for the support, brother.
Thank you for guilt tripping me into buying them a gift.
I ain't guilt tripping you. You should do it. It's called, you know what I'm saying? We want black love and all that kind of stuff like that.
You're right. You're right. Thank you for guilt tripping me into black love or whatever.
Yeah, even though it ain't gonna last, but then like 5 years, that's the trend for the black
Hey,
I'm just,
gonna be married.
Don't pay no attention to him. Don't pay no attention to him.
Logic is a hater.
Don't pay no attention to him. You're gonna have a long lasting
Logic is a
not pay
hater.
attention to him.
Right.
Logic is a hater, but
Big.
I'm just going off the style. You know what I'm saying? Black love don't last. Hey, black love just like a lease, a car lease. 4 years, you lucky if you get 5.
don't say that type of stuff, because now the women who might have been trying to get in Kayla's inbox about you, they might be like turned away.
Yeah.
No, I need them for the show. They cannot. That's why I said Logic. Shh, just don't say anything.
All right, Billy, there go that link. You see it?
Yep.
Yeah,
I got it.
She got like bicycle pants in there, biker shorts, kickballs, basketballs.
I got it.
Like a tennis set. I was like, what kind of tennis set is this?
I haven't seen the kickballs yet. Where's the
Some
kickball?
good stuff on here,
He's
though.
not telling the truth. He is just playing. Look, Chamoge is like, where are the kickballs? Where are the tennis rackets? He's scrolling like, where? All right. So what's going on?
What are your thoughts, Billy? You have any comments? Do you have kids, Billy?
I do. I have one. I have a daughter.
Okay, so what are your thoughts about tonight?
I believe I just asked Mr. Logic a huge question that I have not gotten. He the only one who gave me a direct answer, and his shit was yes. But the question is, do black women choose weaker men to maintain dominance in our society?
No.
Yes, I say yes, but hey.
Yeah. I mean, check this out. We 14% of the population, the whole American population, and 51% of the jail. 90% of the brothers in jail come from single mother households. And that is a direct correlation of failure in the black family, in the black community. That's a big problem. So I believe that they choose, weaker men to maintain dominance in their house and in their community. That's the reason why, strong brothers like Kevin Samuels get so much hate when they pass, because they don't like the discourse. They don't like the power exchange. They don't want to share it. It's not up for debate. In our community, it's not a patriarchy. It's a monarchy. I mean, the woman one. Our women run our community, not the men. We breed weaker men every year. They get weaker and weaker, and the women, are pushed to college, and the men are pushed out of the house to, subjected to drug dealing and whatever it takes to, for them to make it. But I see a lot of, at least where I come from, that the main focus is on women to be successful in the family.
Billy, do you think men have any responsibility for their children?
I believe that we have 100% responsibility for our
children. Then, how can all of the blame?
No, I'm not saying that all of the blame goes to. No, I'm just saying that the choices that we make as people. I mean, it's evident that you see that every woman wants a Russell Wilson like later on in life, but when they're at the prime and the peak, they choose Futures.
I don't know about that. I
Well,
mean,
how?
that's something people say, but if we look at the average married black woman, who is she married to? The average black man. It's not, I mean, I think that there's this trope of, the bad boy thing and all this stuff. But if we just really look at, people that are married, who are they married to? Are most drug dealers and whatnot and all these people the ones that are out here married? Like, I'm trying to see.
But that's what I'm trying to say. That's
idea
along with the point that I'm making is that these women don't get married, that they don't have a family, that there is no male around.
Well,
that they choose men that they can obviously have no income and they can easily kick out of their house. A lot of women choose homosexuals. A lot of women choose them, and they want to do that. They can easily manipulate and have control over. And if he ever steps out of bounds, we can say goodbye. Bye, get up out of here, leave this house. Rather than a man who has his own, and they have to live under his domain. They have to abide by his law. They don't want that.
I'm kind of confused though, because because she has her shit together mean that she's choosing a bum? You know what I'm saying? Because a woman can submit to his leadership or whatever it is, and if she doesn't feel like he's properly leading, still.
But I think that they choose the lesser.
I don't know about that. I think women's options are more limited than men. So I think women are making the best choices that they possibly can out here. I don't think that they're choosing to choose men that make, because just because you make less doesn't mean you're less dominant in a relationship.
Yeah,
that's not true at all. Because you make more does not mean you're more dominant in the relationship. It's about the dynamics of the man. But I do think saying like, women are trying to choose weaker men. I don't know if that's the case. I think women are trying to make the best that they possibly can. Like they know they know they want to be with someone. They want to be married. They want to be happy. I think they're doing the best they can on that. I don't know any women that are out here like, oh, let me pick a guy that works at McDonald's so that I can have the control in the relationship. Like
Kayla, I think a lot of times, and because, we've heard this argument before that women are just, wanting a certain type or whatever. But I always ask, like, so let's just say we go to, a black neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. If there were, let's say 60% of the men were college grads with really nice careers, doing everything, they're supposed to do, no criminal records, all these things. Do y'all really think that women would be passing over these people that are gainfully employed, good people that are out here like living life, on the up and up? Now wait, hold on. Do you really think that most women are going to be like, man, I'm not going to get with that?
Yes, that's why.
Yes.
That's why I'm single.
I think that's a trope. I think that's something.
Kayla, the other day I was at the barbershop and we were having a conversation about the NFL draft, and we were saying that in the past about maybe 7 years, that since they've been putting cameras in people's living room during the NFL draft, we've gotten to see so many white women with #1 draft picks. Russell Wilson, when he was getting drafted, he was sitting there next to a white girl. Every draft pick is sitting next to, and it's so controversial. And me and my friend was talking about, like, how come none of these guys are with sisters? And do you think that, first of all, if he's a #1 draft pick, this is the type of dude that your father wants you to be with? He's a potential, he's a super high value man. He's a Russell Wilson. He's a one of a kind. So I would want you to have babies. I would want you to get married to this dude. I would want you to, invest your future in this man. But I see at a young age that a lot of these dudes aren't choosing sisters. Probably, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, because the sisters aren't checking for them. They ain't got no whole bunch of cocos out there. They ain't got no whole.
Billy,
You don't think black women like athletes?
Billy,
What?
No, I think
where on earth
I think
is there
that when
any
a dude,
star athlete
look,
that all
when a
types of
dude,
women aren't checking for?
when a man states what he wants from a woman like Cam Newton, that he'll get a lot of pushback from black women.
No, he right though. Look, I had
average...
a chick the other day. Asked me how many bodies I had, and she said I ain't qualified because I ain't got no bodies.
But those are extreme
You don't
cases.
have bodies. That's not. Why didn't you tell her the truth? Why are you telling her lies?
No, the rapper Asia Doll said that. She said
he's talking about like dead bodies. Like,
yeah.
As we're winding the show, I am gonna rotate some people in. Jordan, if you don't mind.
I gotta go anyways, y'all. Much love.
Hey, peace out, Jordan.
Much love, bro. Love, bro. All right,
see you, love. Thank you so much for coming. See you later.
Thank
y'all
you.
Too. Bye.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kayla. Thank you for having me
love.
on.
How are you?
Doing well. You ladies look lovely.
Thanks,
Kayla, I love your hair.
You look
like
an
very
angel,
lioness. An
This
angel?
is my favorite hair.
Yeah, you like an angel with them big ass lashes behind you that like wings and shit.
Oh,
Logic always has something to say.
Also, Kay, I didn't even have a chance to meet you at the live, but I did want to send you something. What would you say your Cash App was?
KA312. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Hey, look, Kayla,
congratulations again.
I bought you some light bulbs, Kay, and then it suckered me into buying you some juice too. I don't know where that come from.
What?
Yes, I bought some light bulbs, and then it sucked it. It's some kind of mango juice. So
good.
Oh, you bought those smart light bulbs on my thing?
yeah. I got your smart light bulbs for you though. But it suckered me. So you got some smart light bulbs coming, and it's weird, and some damn mango juice. That's what it says.
Good God.
What?
Look, I send it to you. Look, no cap.
Mango juice. Well, that's cool too.
Yeah. Need mango juice, right?
Kelly, do you have a lashes business, or is this?
No, I don't. I just like Hello Gorgeous. This is what I have on everything.
Okay. I was about to say, shout it out.
I don't. I have a glasses business though.
Oh, what is it? Shout it out.
Oh, it's called Classy Specs.
Okay.
Y'all go check it out. Everybody check
it out.
Yeah.
But can I comment on a few of the points that I was listening to early on in the show? So the main topic was, should you be friends with your children? Should parents be friends with your children? So I wanted to say that as a parent, when your child is young, I think you should listen to them. You should try to understand who they are and support who they are. But I don't think you should be their friend. I think as they grow older and they age into adulthood, then your parent relationship transitions into a friendship, because you're no longer like lording over them, or I mean, you still guide them in a way, but they're their own person now. So, but as far as spanking, I was listening to the conversation earlier, and the difference between a man and a woman spanking children. And I just kind of wanted to comment based on how my father did it, because I feel like it was done very well. He would always sit us down. He was a pastor, so he was always kind of trying to parent us from a biblical approach. So he would always sit us down when we had a problem, when we did anything wrong. He would sit us down. He would discuss it with us. He'd be like, okay, so you did this. There is a consequence for every action, so I have to discipline you. And he would sit us down. We would talk about it. He said, now you understand why I'm going to spank you. And after we understood, then he was like, I'm not spanking you because I'm angry. I'm not spanking you because I'm mad at you. I'm spanking you because I love you. Because if I don't discipline you, then the world is going to discipline you. So he would spank us. And then after that, we'd turn around and he'd be like, I just want you to know I love you. I'm not angry with you, but your action deserved a punishment. So now that's it. I love you. I'll hug you. And then that was it. We would like play video games after or whatever. He would never do it in anger. And I felt like that was very important, because I didn't feel like he was just hitting me. I felt like he was disciplining me. And I try to take that approach even with my son now. Like, my father was the first person that ever gave my son a spanking, because he wanted to show me how to do it properly. So that's just my 2 cents.
Kelly, thanks for sharing that, experience that you had growing up.
Absolutely.
Would you say that, so would your dad wait? Like, would he wait? Like, let's say you did something, I don't know, at 2 p.m. Is he like waiting till later in the day, or is it like right then and there?
I guess it depended. It depends on where it was when the action took place. Like if we were at church, he'd be like, when we get home, you're gonna get a spanking. I'd be like, oh no, hopefully he forgets. But he never forgot.
Hopefully he'll forget.
He never forgot. No, we would get a spanking right when he got home, and he would still take the same approach. But if it was something impaired, like we were at the grocery store acting crazy, he was like, okay, we're gonna have to take a trip to the bathroom. And he would spank us right there. Like it was
okay. So you're saying he was able to practice that restraint and still the same level of, I guess restraint.
Yeah, and I feel like he always did it. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying, like, regardless of if it's in the moment when he was upset with you or not, he could still practice that restraint.
Yeah, it's honestly, I can't imagine. Like, I can't even think of times where he was angry and hitting me. He was always very controlled with it. I mean, if we were doing something crazy like running in the street, he would grab us like, you don't do that, you don't run in the street. But there was never anger with it. So I always felt like he did it in a loving, caring way. So I was never angry about him putting hands on. So, and I never try to do that with my son. If he does something, I'm like, okay, we need to talk. If I'm angry, I'm like, I'm going to come back later and we're going to talk about this. Because I don't want him to think that discipline is because of my emotions. It's because of an action that he did and it needed to be corrected and addressed. So,
yep.
And honestly, as a man, as a father, we have authority. We have like so much dominance in our presence.
Even just by
with my right. I was about to say that a lot of times when my daughter's doing wrong, all I have to do is say, "Hey," and she straightens up. Her body locks up, and she gets so stiff where she's almost like a, what do you call it? Like something that like a possum.
Paralyzed.
That gets scared. Right. She gets so scared that she like scared stiff. And she'll be sitting there like, and I'm like, dang, I didn't even touch you. I didn't even do anything. Like, all I said was, hey. And her body like literally like almost seized up and like fell over. And we have, as a man, we have that power in our voice, in our presence, in our, in our spirit. So I don't know. I think that a lot of our failings come from the lack of male leadership.
But see,
and
you lose
to Logic's point earlier, he was saying that like at a certain age, like it has to be a man. And my son's 12 now, and now when I try to use my authoritative tone, he's like, "Come on, mom! Like I'm almost taller than you. Like it doesn't mean that much anymore." And
yeah,
so
but you ain't got that. You ain't got that power, man. I'm sorry, but I want to just say this to Billy the Kid, right?
Was good.
If you don't have that constant presence, you will lose that power. I went to Afghanistan for 15 months, and then I saw that effect that I normally had. It kind of, not for my daughter, but my son, I didn't have it no more. You know what I'm saying? I had to build that that power back up. You know what I'm saying? That voice. Yeah. Sons are rejected more, but like women, females, or daughters, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it will paralyze the shit out of them. They'll drop everything they got in their hand. You know what I'm saying? They'll lose it. And then you got to kind of learn how to control it a little bit more.
I almost have to like pacify it after I raise my voice.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely, yeah. I ain't gonna say pacify. It just got
because she almost be like trembling.
Yeah, because I gotta say her name. I can't say, like, to my son, I can say, "What the fuck?" And then, you know what I'm saying, he'll react to it, right? But I can't do her like that. She can't think I'm mad at her in no kind of way. You see what I'm saying? I just gotta say, if I'm yelling at her or I'm trying to stop her from doing something, I just say her name.
Right. And I think that a lot of it comes from the military, like that. I got like that like drill instructor tone when I get upset. Like it's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like,
Well, you don't look nothing like no drill instructor. Looking like Lil Wayne, lost cousin. That's what you look like. You don't look like no drill instructor.
Oh,
I'm talking about the sound, bro.
I'm playing, man. I'm playing. We gotta add some jokes to the show.
All right, I take it personal.
Logic is gonna make sure he brings the comedy.
And you sound like T.I. I don't know how the hell your kids gonna be mad at you.
He didn't even say expeditiously or nothing.
Right. Like, you really need to add that to the vocab.
Yeah. But
and I know, Mr. Logic, you said I didn't have that authority, which what I was trying to say before you cut me off was my son's going to go live with his dad now because he is at that age where my voice no longer carries authority to him. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. How old
is That's awesome.
Kelly, how old did you say your son is?
He's 12.
12.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Well, one thing I'll add about women though is that even though they might not be as able to like instill like fear in the kids, I think they can have just as much influence on their kids because of the for lack of a better term, emotional connection. Like I'll just use my mom as an example, right? My mom never whooped me ever, but a lot of times when she told me to do something, I would do it just because I would feel bad like going against what she told me to do. So it's like it's coming from a different place, but it can have the same effect. So
what's she gonna do? Start crying?
What is she gonna do? I mean, it's just like that's mom. I don't want to make mom upset. So it's like, you know, and I don't want to feel like a jerk either. That was the thought process. So, you know, I think either parent can have an effect. It just different tendencies. And of course, this is in general because you'll have exceptions all over the place. So.
It's almost like you're obligated, an obligation to be disciplined to your mother.
Yeah.
No, I think we brushed over what Kelly had said, and I think what she said.
No, I'm not saying that what she.
No. I was just trying to bring attention back to what she said, and I think that's powerful though. That like when she starts saying that mostly her role has already been achieved, and she can kind of pass the buck on to her son's father. I think that's big. I think that's big. I think it should like
It's scary, I will say that, but I know it's what needs to happen because I can't teach him how to be a man.
Right.
I can tell him, but I can't train him and teach him.
He's at that age now when you really can't do much for him. His friends and his father will have much more of an influence than you'll ever have at this age.
No, it's gonna be some struggle. Look, I'm not gonna cap because I told everybody when I had my kids was living with me in Korea, and that was the most stressful time in my life. So it's abilities that I don't know his dad, but it's abilities that men just don't have. We don't have that patience like y'all got, like to sit here and do the work and do all that kind of thing. So that's why the dynamic together is perfect. You know what I'm saying, man and woman.
Yeah.
Because I hated that, man. I can do the projects and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying, but like the tedious going through these workbooks and stuff like that. Sometimes I was getting more frustrated than he was. So.
Yeah, I think the balance is important. And like really, when you said like there's nothing she can do anymore, like come on.
Yeah.
That's his
right.
mom.
I'm just saying.
Both parents, let's wait. Both parents are very important. Mothers and fathers are very important. Kelly, you said you were going to send your son to live with his dad, which I get, you know what I'm saying, at a certain age and certain things, since you all aren't living in the same household. But to say, there's nothing you can do, you're his mom, and he's
I'm saying that at a certain point. At any point. No. During the ages of 12 to 15.
No, Billy. At any point, both parents are important. That is why there needs to be a balance. That is why ideally, even though any other situations can work, ideally, both parents are around because of what Logic was just saying. So for you to be like, well, it's at this point in time, you have nothing else to contribute to your own son as a mother? Really? No.
I agree. I had both mother and father in the home. And I think you develop into a more well-rounded human being as an adult when you can glean from both parents at the same time. Because his father and I aren't together. That can't happen, but I'm not going to be inactive in his life now. So, I'll still be there. I'll still
You will be
give him
very
guidance.
important.
I'll still teach him how to be a gentleman. I'll still teach him how he needs to treat a lady, like whatever I
But
did.
my mother
Like this
instilled,
age.
but
That's
my
the main
mother
thing that I was
instilled
gonna
those
say.
values.
And Kelly, you're his mom. Like, you know this, and
Yeah.
you know
Yeah,
that you are always going to have an important place regardless of where he lives. And
That
like I
part.
said, since
Check
y'all
this
aren't in
out.
the same house, you see that at this stage in life, you know, you had him for a certain amount of time. Now his dad's gonna have him, and that's what you're doing to make it work, since it's not, y'all aren't all in the same house. But
Right.
like Billy,
I
what
do
you
think
said, I
that
thought was very
No,
problematic.
but we got to.
but I do think that her being around allows him to have an example to practice on. You know what I mean? He has you to practice on how to treat a lady, bring his mom flowers, do
Right.
all the things that he'll
Bring the
eventually do
groceries
for the
in,
woman
open
of
the
his
door.
life.
I get that. I get that.
He does that with his mother. Same way that my dad took me out on dates regularly to show me how a man's supposed to open the door and how
My
a
dad
man's
did that
supposed to do
too.
this and how a man's supposed to do that. The son
My
should be
mom-
doing the same thing with his mother, and the father using the mother as an example of go over and hold the door for your mom. You know what I'm saying? And like that is how it's supposed to be.
But let's keep it funky though. Hold up. Cause see, this is an important conversation, because I mean, most of our household is single parent households though. But just think about this. You got to keep it funky, right? It was not ideal for that man to have that child probably from 1 to 12. Not ideal at all. We can
That's
say
what I'm saying right there.
Yeah, I got you.
That's
It
what I'm
was
saying.
not ideal at all, especially a young boy. See, a man can concede to say, no, yes, it's not ideal for me to do this. But now on the other side, you got to say that, I don't know, like, but I only see benefits to it. Like at some point, as a mother to a son, it's only so much you can pour into your son. And I'm with
I
you.
don't disagree, Logic.
Wait. You can't get triggered. Hold on.
No, I'm not getting triggered. I just think that's a cultural perspective, because
No,
even
it's
my
not.
Nigerian friend.
It's not, because this is something that's been going on for years.
But like I said, I still think it's a cultural perspective, because in my Nigerian friend's life, that time where he was meant to go be with his father, he actually went to live in Nigeria, was between the age of like 8 and 12.
No, but
and then he came back to America and was living with his mom at 13. So I think culturally it's just different depending on where you come from, because those were the important years in his culture between the ages of 8 and 12. And I think those are the most important years as well, because once they're teenagers, I mean, shit, it's a lot of it is what it is.
No, because I'm not debating the
y'all
number.
saying this is the perfect age. I think that he should have went at
No,
7 or 8.
Kayla, you gotta hear me out though. You gotta hear me out. You can't get triggered to it. Listen what I'm saying though. It's earlier on in any child's life, that connection to their mom is important, right? And it's only so much that a father really can do. You know what I'm saying? And then that's the women will play to their strong points in them early years.
Yeah, I think that if you have to split it up, Logic, I agree that like younger ages would be better with
their mother.
And yeah, if you had to split it up, but that's not ideal.
Ideal is
I agree with that.
Oh, we understand it's not ideal. That's why I said. That's why.
No. Logic, I'm
not
saying about what you're saying. I'm talking about what Billy was saying earlier.
No, but I'm just saying. But I want to just finish though. Look, I know I love the Kay and Kayla show. That's why I ain't even showing my face tonight. I'm just show y'all. Look, because y'all still be pissing me off though. But at the end of the day, that I think that's a right decision, because now Kelly didn't pour a lot into that young man, right? And so now he's a young man, and then now that male guidance is important, because now that man can guide him into being a man. You know what I'm saying? He only got like a couple more years before he actually a man. That's gonna be a snap of a finger. And then now it's about sending just like anything else.
12 ain't what it was, Logic. 12 is halfway grown.
Listen, I say I'm not gonna play the numbers game with you. I'm not gonna say
it matters. I think the boys should go much younger. I think by 12, what's done is pretty much, you can do some.
But in your eyes, Kayla, in your eyes, as a man, I have a lot of work
across
to do.
A lot of cultures.
No.
So my god,
people in the chat agreeing. So I don't know.
We don't care about the chat. What the fuck? I can't believe. And you, the last person, care about the chat.
Well, all I'm saying is that I'm using a poll, and you're trying to act like your opinion is the end all be all. And I'm saying there are other people in the world that think other things. Logic.
Look, the chat don't agree. What you talking about?
My godmother is a principal, and she said that children between the age of infancy and like 6, they really depend on their mothers, and then it's dad between like 7 and 12, and then after that it's their friends that are the most influential time periods. However, that wasn't a possibility at that age, but now he's hitting puberty, he's asking me questions, and he's asking if he could spend more time with his dad. So his dad and I decided that this was the best solution. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be a part of his life anymore. I'm still going to be actively involved because he is my son. I mean, until he no longer calls me and asks for my permission, asks me for anything, I'm still going to be there because that's my baby. But I cannot teach him the things that I need to as a man. I can only teach him how to be a lady. I can't teach him how to walk like a man and talk like a man. That's something that he has to get from a man. And even my brother, I'm one of 5 children, and it was 4 daughters and one son. And my dad raised him differently. He pulled him apart from the girls, and he would take him to do boy things, fishing. Like, he's like, Dad, I gotta hear. I need to spend time with just you. And he would take him and he would do like masculine things with him that we didn't get to do. So I know there's a difference, and I know I can't give him certain things. So I'm okay to relinquish those duties to his father. You know,
and we're for that, man. I give you, look, if you can see me, I got a salute right now.
It's not easy. I'm not saying it like it's, oh yeah, he's just gonna go, I'm gonna YOLO the rest of my life, but it wasn't an easy decision, but I know it's important because he needs that. So
yes.
Anyway, but that's all I had to say. I don't want to like take over.
No, you're fine. Thank you for calling and supporting.
Absolutely. And do you prefer Cash App, or do you actually want like a present on your This is a big deal.
You know, I'll let you choose, but Cash App is always good.
Okay. No, I don't mind sending cash because it's like you can get what you want.
Exactly.
Specific.
Exactly. You know,
look out.
Cash App is always good. Whatever you want to do, whichever one would be equal to more. I'm just being
honest.
No.
Oh my God.
Okay. No. Kay said, y'all listen, this is one of the most important days of my life.
I'm just being honest.
Hey.
Hey, look, I got a question. I know there'll be these little Amazon things, but it's supposed to ship to me?
No.
Huh?
Mm-mm.
When
you go to pay for it, it tells you Kay's address. It says undisclosed address, and you click that.
No, it got shipping address. It got me.
No, you're supposed to scroll down, see the other options, and choose Kay somewhere in Illinois.
Man, I'm
undisclosed.
Yeah, I'm canceling.
And then you
shit.
just send it. It's a gift. Logic. What are you talking about?
Look, I know that. I'm just telling you what I'm reading. See, I ain't got time for you.
Yes, you do.
Oh my God.
All right. I'm gonna log out. But it was a pleasure. Kay, are you gonna be at the Atlanta show?
Yes. Are you going to that one?
Yes.
Okay, we'll meet.
I can't miss Mr. Logic's dancing.
Another turn up. Yes, we need more of Logic dancing.
Tutorial. I'll do it, but he didn't send it to me yet.
That's facts. And Kayla was just like the star of the show. She was like diva extraordinaire.
She was a hater of the show.
What?
No.
How am I a hater of the show I'm on? What is wrong with you? You just be saying anything.
No, she was the star. I saw all the guys staring at her like, just like.
It was Thursday though. It was
I forgot how to talk.
Shit hit different in person.
They were stunned. They were stunned.
I'm stunned. I was stunned by Logic's dancing, to be honest.
Look, it was hot in Houston, and then the thirst was real. And then when
Logic was really thirsty.
When it got back to the East Coast, where the weather actually started simmering down, and they got right back their senses.
No, Logic was like literally everywhere we went. Logic had a little bae. Everywhere we went, even our hotel we stayed with, he was all, buddy with the lady at the front desk. Ain't that right, Logic?
No. And I like how you trying to put me out here like that.
He said
no. Logic be mingling. He be mingling.
He said no.
Yes, she can.
But it was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Come back
Absolutely.
next week.
Alrighty. I watch every show I support.
Oh, thank you so much.
Love and peace.
Bye.
Have a good night. So as we wind down.
Yes, because your homegirl's over here eating a whole meal.
Right. We can hear you chewing.
It's literally 12 o'clock at night. Like, I can't wait any later.
It's very late.
Yeah.
So
anyway, this has been good though.
Let's start getting some final thoughts.
Yes, let's see some final thoughts.
And we can all like leave at the same time, you know? We don't have to be off one by one.
So,
final thoughts.
Billy?
Yeah.
I mean, whoever want to go first.
I'll go first. It don't matter. My final thought is that we have to be more intentional about what we do on a daily basis, on what we are choosing to bring into our lives, and what goals and outcomes do we want. I think that we also have to think about our offspring, the next generation, and how much do you see a problem with, and what do you want to reach back and fix? Other than that, I think that we have a wonderful culture. I think that Black love is super real. I think that the brothers are really great. I think that the women are really great. I think that there is a agenda to separate our greatness, and I think Balenciaga and Gucci have a lot to do with it. I know that sounds weird and conspiracy theorist, but just do the research. And yeah, that's my final thought.
Interesting. Well, thanks, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Next time, I hope.
Congratulations, Kay. I'm about to go on this Amazon and I'm about to pick the cheapest thing to buy you. All right.
That's cool.
See you later.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So sorry, it was just yeah. All right. So my final thought, I guess, would be that when people are parenting their kids, they gotta realize that they're not idiots, right? So even at a young age, I think people gotta understand that their kid, even though they can't be perfectly left to their devices, they have a pretty good idea of what they need to do. So we should try and go with their intuition and instincts instead of fighting them the whole way. And then as the kid gets older, and especially once they become an adult, like late teens, right? You have to realize that you don't necessarily know more than them as a parent. So instead of trying to be a dictator, you should try and be more of an advisor, right? And a confidant. What?
I'm sorry. Go on. This is your final thoughts.
Okay.
Not bad.
So,
Kayla, now you know what we're trying to do.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go on. My bad. Go on.
All right. Yeah. So, okay. I don't know what I said wrong, but yeah. As you get older, instead of being a dictator, to the kid, you have to be more of like, an advisor and a confidant. Because at the end of the day, especially once they're an adult, they're going to be the one making their own decisions, but the parent just has to be there to kind of guide them and give them advice. So it's really important to build a close, loving relationship where the kid can come to you and talk to you about anything they might need to talk to them about. So whether or not you want to call that a friendship or put whatever other label on it, that's how it should be. And I think we should work towards that more. So.
Okay.
I agree with my brother.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much for coming.
All right. Thank you.
For the continued support, be sure to come back next week.
Yep. I will.
Yeah. Hey, we'll call you the closet man.
Wow, Logic. Leave him alone.
Man.
This closet's gonna grow on you, Mr. Logic. Don't worry.
And now I never even thought about it, but I think maybe backed up a little, but now see like clothes on shelves. I didn't really like.
He didn't really catch it.
You were in a closet.
Yeah, no, I think it's just Mr. Logic recognized this thing.
Yeah, what is that, like the circuit thing?
Yeah, I've never even opened it, but I think that's where all the little circuit switches.
Yeah, open it up. It's the internet.
I don't know if I want to open it up on the internet. You know,
no, you just open it up, man. Quit being scared.
I want to leave some things to the imagination. I don't know who's out there. Someone's crazy, but they might know something. I don't know.
Bro, I'm telling you, this internet. I got one in my crib just like that. Look, I can see your $10 cash if you open that box up.
You know what, Logic? You're right, because in my closet there is that thing, but I never looked in it. I only saw it the first day, like when we moved in.
To the lights, like in your room and in the hallway. And
no, it's not Kayla. It's internet.
Yeah, it's in my closet.
He's staying like.
I mean, our Wi-Fi router is here, but I don't.
Yeah,
the whole thing is internet.
So
the internet is part of the thing there.
Switches and all that kind of stuff like that.
I think the circuit breaker.
Cut your camera off, Kayla, and eat your ramen noodles.
I think
she don't know what's going on.
I don't think the circuit breaker thing has as many like vents in it. I think that's just like a door. Versus this thing with the vents, I think that's where all like the internet stuff is.
Because in the house, because in the house I used to live in, the
open it up, man. Like move us right. Open it up.
Yeah.
I don't want to because it's.
I don't think it's the circuit breaker. It's not.
I don't think I can. I don't want to mess with it because I don't want the.
Are you so scared, man? What you gonna have? You gonna get shot?
No, because this is an apartment, so I don't want the apartment people to be like, "Oh, you mess with something." I don't know. Also, it's like there's crazy people on the internet. I don't know what they would be able to do if they see my internet. I don't know. I don't want to find out.
I don't know. They could look over there and see your jeans, and then
yeah, but you can't hack my. Well, I don't even like jeans. I don't like pants with zippers, to be honest.
Well, in the meantime, let's shout out to Super Chats.
Logic said they can see your jeans.
Shout out to AL. Thank you so much, AL. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Shout out to Sir Chicken. I don't even know what that
last
is.
Piece of chicken.
I ate the last piece of chicken.
I ate the last piece of chicken. Oh wow. Thank you for the contribution. Shout out to Zoe, KYSME. Thank you.
Zoe hasn't called in a while.
Yeah.
I know. Why not?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Florida, Zoe. I got to teach Kayla everything, man.
I know. What you mean? I live in Florida. I already know about the Zoes. What are you talking about?
All right, then. All right, I'm finna go, man. I ain't finna be disrespecting on this panel no more. That's why I don't like to come up here.
Logic, getting emotional.
Wait,
I get disrespected.
Logic, can you just be calm and cool and collected?
I was nice today.
Somebody said they can hack your internet by looking at the connections. LOL. I was wondering too. I was wondering, like, is that a thing?
Oh, they can do that?
I don't think.
No, they can't do that. It's a joke.
Okay.
Wait a minute. What's
actually? I'm not even immediately clear how to open this.
What's really in there, Chimoge? Because now I'm really concerned. Like,
I think it's probably the internet. I just don't want to.
Why don't you want to show us?
You know what?
You know what? Let me. My sister's getting mad at me because I'm loud and she's trying to sleep. But
Logic, now is the time for us to see what's going on in here. Wait. Oh.
Internet. Thank you.
The internet.
Thank you.
Exactly.
All right, yeah, it is. Oh, actually, yeah, because when they put in the
y'all win.
Yes.
Yeah, because the vents are, I think, because I don't think on any circuit breaker thing I've seen vents.
No, there
were vents
all the new modern apartments.
I've never seen them.
Yeah, all the new modern apartments and little condos and stuff, they always put in the closet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the internet thing. Yep.
And that's probably why you in the closet, to be closer to the router.
Oh
no, it's just because dead ass the way
you just
my
wanted to be quiet because you don't want to wake people up. I get it.
Yeah.
Hey, Kayla, can you apologize to me?
For what?
What?
Because you was wrong.
About what?
About the internet box and you was talking shit.
When did that happen?
Oh my God! You see, that's why you.
I don't think that happened either.
I don't think that happened.
Not a backup.
I don't think that happened.
See, why you just can't say you sorry?
I'm sorry if your feelings are hurt about something that you misconstrued. I apologize.
See, that's why I can't do. I got. I'm going to Korea.
Lone Wolf said the gray one. Every place I've ever seen a circuit breaker.
I already knew Logic was going to be bad when I said that one.
No, gray ones, circle breakers. All right, that might make sense.
Gray he got a circuit breaker in his freaking closet. That's why he in the closet. Come out the closet. Come out the closet.
What is JR still on?
Yes, he is.
JR.
The way you're calling him. Look, he popped up.
What up?
Hey, does he always have instant access? How does it work?
All right, that man always around.
He's like backstage, Jamoge.
Okay.
Kind of, you know.
Hey, no, JR, we need. Hey, I'm gonna start writing a movie script for Kay and Kayla.
Really?
We gonna shoot it in Atlanta.
Okay, that's what I'm on. Let's go.
Kay's like, no, I'm not coming down there.
Yeah.
Hey, if y'all want to be in the movie, the first ever Lapeef movie, make sure y'all buy y'all tickets to Atlanta. I'm telling you, if you want to be like a little extras. If you want to be an extra in the movie, make sure you buy your tickets. I'm telling you, this movie finna be epic. I'm telling you. Crazy.
What's the genre?
Say it again?
What's the genre?
Niggerish.
I was hoping more like psychological thriller. Or
yeah, like I just cannot.
I told you niggerish. That means it and everything.
His ass from the
together. All mixed together. Why y'all gotta be so technical, man? We just trying to do a movie. It's gonna be the first movie, Lapeef.
We can't know what the movie is.
Why not trying to be so technical?
We want to know.
Hey, chat. What kind of character y'all think Kay should play and Kayla should play in a movie? I'm thinking.
No. This is what we're not gonna
Kayla,
do.
we're like, what kind of movie? He's like, man, why are you gonna be so technical?
No, I'm telling you, Kay. Hey,
all we literally asked was, what's the genre of the movie?
Psycho baby mama. Like she could be the psycho baby mama that'll cut the tires of your Challenger.
Oh, me?
Really?
No.
Kayla.
Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah.
Really, Logic?
Yes. I'm telling you. Yeah, you look like a psycho baby mama. You go crazy. You go crazy with a butcher knife.
What?
You can make run flats flat.
Logic, don't make me drop you from the screen. Shut the hell up.
Hey, Kayla can make run flats go flat.
The only place Kayla's going crazy with a butcher knife is in the kitchen.
This is correct, because my food is fire. But you know what? Logic is a whole comedian, and he just needs something to goddamn do. So I'm gonna let him do his thing.
I just like kicking with y'all sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
I like that you like kicking with us. You make everything funny. You are a comedian for sure.
Whatever, man.
We are gonna have a comedian at the Atlanta show. I'm hoping that we can give Logic a couple minutes before the actual comedian.
No, I ain't finna be no comedian.
But you already are.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, I'm thinking about making a movie. What kind of character you think you're gonna play?
I'm not doing this with you.
Kayla, remember, we're gonna have like a little variety show comedy situation, and we're probably gonna host it. Remember? Didn't Brian?
Oh, yes.
Remember when B Self was talking about that, Brian?
Yes, that'd be great.
All right, somebody in the chat said Kay would be the goofy school girl, and Kayla. You got to put it up. I can't read that shit in the chat.
Okay. Kay would. Oh,
girl.
Okay.
We both keep.
Kay would be the goofy school girl, and Kayla would be the high class city girl, and they meet in high school in class.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
That was great.
JR, I like how in every scene that you're in, like you look like you're having fun, but like your face never looks like
he's not having fun in any of the scenes. And all the scenes his
body language looks like he's like having maybe a good time, but then his face is just like,
I cannot wait. Atlanta is about to be steroids, guys. Like I promise you, Atlanta is going to be fire. Like that's my hometown. Listen.
That's who hometown?
That's my hometown.
But who's born there though?
I was born there.
Oh, you was? All right, that's our hometown too then. So you better put some respect on my name. Go ahead, continue talking.
You cut out.
So I currently live in Atlanta, so
go ahead. Keep doing a little shout out thing. Go ahead.
Nope, I'm done. It's been nice having a good night with y'all, but I'm done with Logic. I'm dropping him from the stream. What else? Nice meeting you, young sir. I appreciate you in your closet coming to see us tonight.
No problem.
You very insightful, and I hope you come back to see us next time.
Yep.
You drop me from this stream, I never come back to the KA show ever again. The K and Kayla show, all that.
Logic, this is ridiculous.
Logic is so dramatic. He is drama. He just threatened me.
And like, for how long is he going to like get our names? I don't
care. Mr. Logic, are you Scorpio?
No, I'm a Leo.
Okay. I could. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That makes a ton of sense. Logic is a special person. Whoever said that in the comments, I agree.
That's
we
bullshit.
Have a very special person. The date for ATL is August 5th, 6th, and 7th. Right, JR?
Lit.
JR? JR?
I think that's it.
Yeah. August 5th, 6th, and 7th is the dates for Atlanta. So definitely you guys come out. You guys then. Let's So
what?
Logic. Are you ready to be dropped from the stream?
Okay.
I'm gonna count down from 10.
Kayla, you better hit in when I'm on here.
Okay. So we've had a lovely evening, and I hope you enjoyed the topics tonight. Do not forget, support that tease handling. Feel the tease. Make sure you get your tickets. They go on sale in I think 2 weeks. For Atlanta, there are a limited amount of tickets, just like last time. 2-day event, gonna be fire. Can't wait to see you guys there. See you guys next week right here on the Lapeef Network.